Welcome back to WRPL. It's the podcast where we talk about all the things we are watching, reading, playing, and listening to. My name's Ben.
And I'm Steve.
How you doing, Steve?
I'm tired all the time, Ben.
Yes, I can tell. You look like shit.
Thank you.
I want to start off with something we talked last week about Cocaine Shark. You remember bringing up Cocaine Shark?
I do.
So there's a comedian. His name is Matt McCarthy. I follow his TikTok. He bought it and watched it and reviewed it. And so I have some information that is kind of shocking about this movie. Because we hypothesize how does the shark get the cocaine? You know, is it just in the water? Is he eating people with it? Well, it turns out no shark does cocaine in the movie. And not only that, there's no cocaine in the movie. No one says the word cocaine. There is a drug kingpin guy, but nobody does cocaine. And it's not even like a regular shark. It's a weird genetic experiment that it's half shark, half lobster. So just imagine a lobster, but with a shark head, but really big. And there's also like a bat spider hybrid that they bring up about their genetic fuckery, but it just shows up once and then it's never in the movie again. And then there's human shark hybrids where it's like people in a lab coat with shark heads. It has nothing to do with cocaine. They just named it that just because there was a Cocaine Bear movie. The audacity of some, like, I get some of these. Oh, we're calling it Transmorphers and there's barely any robot action.
Sure.
Whatever. But you're, like, at least Ouija Shark is a shark that is someone with a Ouija board. You know, like, there's a little bit of truth to it, regardless how stupid it is. Now, and this is the same guy who's made like Franken Shark and all those like real shit. It's a puppet. There's some claymation in the movie.
Oh,
yeah, where he eats a guy, but it is, you know, like a crappy hand puppet underwater.
Yeah, I mean, if you wanted to avoid the cocaine plot line or whatever, fine. But at least name the shark Cocaine because it was owned by the drug lord or something like that.
Yeah.
And it was donated for science. So they're just like, yeah, this is the cocaine shark. Ha ha ha. And then you just don't have to do the drugs.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's absurd.
Yeah. It's false advertising and someone should sue. All right. Well, we're going to finally get to Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
I finally saw it.
It's only, 3 weeks? 4 weeks? Late, but that's fine.
Yeah, I looked ahead because I thought my wife wanted to see this movie with me because we've seen a bunch of Marvel stuff together, and then today she told me, "Yeah, I don't know why you think I give a shit about Guardians of the Galaxy." She's like, "I just don't care about this character." So I was like, "Oh, I was gonna go see Transformers, but fine, I'll go see Guardians of the Galaxy." So yeah, I finally got to see it, and it's not at our theater next week because I looked it up because I thought,
oh, it's already gone, huh?
Yeah, it looks like it won't be there come next Friday or
okay.
this Friday.
Well, there's 2 big movies coming out with already big movies.
Yeah, there's only 3 showings of Guardians today, so I called it the earliest one. Yeah.
Cool. I don't have a lot. You have a couple of things.
Yeah, I have a few things. I'll breeze right through.
Sure. Let's start with something I know we both watched. Sunny came back. It's season 16 of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. They played the first 2 episodes. I was kind of scared. I thought they were going to do the same thing they did last year where they would release 2 episodes every week and we'd just be done with the season in a month. But looking at my DVR, it only says episode 3 is recording. So hopefully that was just a night of the... Hopefully it was just the premiere night sort of extravaganza. You have been a fan of the show a lot longer than me. I didn't get into it till... I think it was on season 9 or 10 by the time I actively started watching new episodes.
Right.
So, did you feel this was status quo, same old great stuff, or it's showing its age, or this is better than what you're used to? How do you rank this new season so far?
Well, I mean, if I was going to do a ranking, it's very hard to say in terms of after just 2 episodes. But I think the thing is that the seasons are all kind of the same. The gang's always up to the same old shenanigans, and that's not a bad thing. It's a show where it's the scheme of the week, and sometimes there's episodes that aren't as good as others. Sometimes there's like there's episodes that you're like, man, this is a classic Sunny episode. And I think that even last season, there's episodes there that's like, oh, this is one of the best Sunny episodes.
Yeah.
for a show that's been on for 16 years and is doing the same thing over and over again, but it's all still hilarious. I have no problems, and especially after these first two episodes. It's a good sign of where the season's going. I laughed a lot. And do our characters grow and become better people or change who they are?
No,
no. I mean, Mac went from closeted gay to fat to just openly gay. But other than that, everyone's pretty much the same as they were from season one. Just a little bit older.
Just a little older.
If I have one complaint of the season, and it's a complaint I know I've seen other fans talk about online, is the HD of the show is really kind of...
Yeah.
It's not hurting the show, but it does kind of take you out for a second. It's like, man, Charlie's apartment really looks like a set. It always was a set.
Yeah.
But it really, really looks like a TV set now.
Yeah. Even the bar, everything it looks like a TV show now.
It's just a little too bright, a little too clean.
Yeah.
But other than that, what's most important is the comedy there, and they're still knocking it out of the park after all these years. And it's great to see.
Yeah, I think the first episode, I didn't love the general story with the inflatable couches and Dennis being too stupid to not understand inflation. That seems like the thing he would be explaining to them. But all the little jokes are good. You know, Charlie having a bathroom and a room in this apartment the whole time. Mac being allergic to nuts and just getting more and more ridiculous looking.
Nuts.
Yeah, fancy nuts. Dee gluing her hand to the wall. And there was one other thing.
I really liked the opening, or one of the opening jokes of Frank saying money's not worth as much as it used to be. And like, how's money not, like, how's not a dollar not a dollar? He's like, well, the dollar's like 50 cents. He's like, well, I'll give you a $5 for your $10. And they're like, yeah, it's a good deal. Just a really great classic Sunny bit that these guys
is. But that seems like a Mac and Charlie, they would get the wool pulled over on them from Dennis. Like, Dennis should be doing that to him. It's like, didn't get dumber in his age. He was always the smarter one. It works for what they're trying to do with this story, but it just felt a little out of character. They're so stupid.
Well, I think normally yes, but, and this is just my headcanon, when Frank talks business, Dennis just assumes Frank is right. Because Frank isn't inept. Frank's a lunatic.
Yeah.
But when it comes to business, he has made a ton of money. That's why he still has it, seemingly. I don't know how he still has money.
Yeah.
But when it comes to business, I think Dennis, that's the one thing he does defer to Frank for.
And we have seen Dennis be stupid, like eating the apple seeds and Mac telling him to, like, smoke some cigarettes and stuff. Like, Dennis should be smart enough to know that that's not a thing. But the second episode, I thought was just classic Sunny.
Frank shoots every member of the gang.
Yes. Which, with that title, I was a little disappointed on how everybody got shot. I thought the first two being like shot at the same time was very funny, and them being twins and both being hit in the face. It worked. But then the last three all get shot by the same ricocheting bullet.
At the very last second.
Yeah. I thought it was going to be this fun setup of how does Frank shoot everybody. Mm-hmm. But the two stories are completely separated for most of it. We have Dee and Dennis treating Frank like a dog and going to put him down on his last day.
Which I thought was a pretty clever bit.
But the Charlie and Mac stuff with their moms, and we finally meet Charlie's sisters, which he only ever, I think he said sister in like that first or second episode. He mentions having a sister. He never like says two sisters or anything. So it's nice that they actually kind of came back on that.
Well, I did see someone posted a picture of the episode where Charlie had, I think, the the molestation episode. Yeah. And you do see two little girls who do look very similar.
Okay.
So I think they were like, it was never established in the show, but I think that's them going, these are Charlie's two sisters.
Okay. Because I know I think it was Uncle Frank, not Uncle, what's the hands guy? Uncle...
It's not Carl.
Oh my God. What kind of fans are we? But I remember him mentioning just him saying his sister. I don't remember the picture thing, but we meet them, Bunny and Honey, two twin ASMR OnlyFans, like millionaires. Like, it's so funny that Charlie has these sisters who are just obscenely rich, and he's the most disgusting poor person in Philly.
But like, they're awful people.
Oh, they're total bees, yeah, and so mean to their mom, and just just screeching harpies.
I don't know how much my wife has seen of It's Always Sunny, but I had this on while she was kind of fiddling on her phone, and this episode had her cracking up. Like Charlie's mom pulling out her teeth and just like spitting out that blood was cracking her up.
I love Charlie's mom.
um, yeah, she had a lot of good laughs. I think Charlie just ranting about having an inheritance of a jar of teeth and just the absurdity of the show was like really good to us. Like this, all right, I'm going to try and get her to start from the beginning because I'll happily rewatch this entire series.
And I love Mac meeting his uncle and being everything he would ever want in his own father and just being completely oblivious and not wanting it from this dude. And that there's a little bit of a hint that maybe he is his father. I don't know if you picked that up, but it seemed like, no, your piece of shit dad is not your real dad. I am your real dad. Because they're very similar.
Well, another thing I want to talk about this. It wasn't until like maybe a minute into it, I was like, is this the same guy?
I was going to say that. They cast so perfectly. I was just like,
they must have got this guy's brother. Because in the face, I was like, that looks so much like Mac's dad. So it's got to be like a twin brother or something. Because it can't be the same guy. It can't be Luther. But it is.
Is it?
Yeah. I tried going on IMDb and he wasn't even credited. And then I went on Reddit and it was just like, yeah, that's Luther. It's just he's aged and looks different.
Wow.
But that's him. And I was like, oh, what a great way to like cast around that. It's like, of course he would have a brother that looks like him. And now that he looks different, it just worked. But yeah, that's him because it's like the voice sounds the same. Yeah. It's crazy.
I thought it was just fortuitous casting. They just saw a guy and said, holy shit, you look like you could be brothers with Mac's dad. It's the same actor.
It's the same actor.
That's impressive. Yeah. And I would have never guessed it because obviously he's an actor and he's not that original character at all.
Talk about range.
Jeez. That's fantastic. And then, Mac's mom, having to take shits and then wipes with the letters from his dad. Just an awful human being. I hate Mac's parents so much. I mean, they're great characters for this show, but how pathetic Mac is of just every time his mom says something like, oh, well, what she means by that, and just trying to justify her terribleness to everybody. And Charlie's just so like, yeah, you really? Is that what she means about that? And just like totally sees through all of his dumb bullshit.
Yeah, Mac's sitting in the back of the car and she like raised her fingers like, we need to be quiet for 30 seconds or she'll burn us with a cigarette. Yeah. It's like, oh my God.
And Charlie's mom screaming in the car, like, because she's only going like 30 miles an hour on the freeway. That's a great pairing. I'm glad that they paired up the two moms, but good stuff.
I would love to see an origin story of Charlie and Mac's mom, like in their younger years. Because we do have a home video of Mac's mom during the Christmas episode where she does seem happy to be with Luther, and she's not this insufferable, almost mute woman who just chain smokes cigarettes. So something happened between there, and I just imagine there'd be some funny comedy of just seeing Charlie's mom being just a total slut in like the 70s or 80s or whatever it is. We've done origin episodes of the gang. We've seen Frank back when he was in Nam and was into Shady Nasty and her.
Yeah, like working at the bar, right? He was kind of playing his younger self, and there was the what wasn't that?
He had a brother, I think, and it was a whole thing. But I would love to see an episode where they do the origins of.
Would you want them to recast so you actually get younger versions, or just have them play their younger versions?
I can see why it would be funny to have these two older women do that, but I think I'd like to see a recasting. Okay. Because I think it'd be a funnier transition to see, like, oh, this is what they were, and look at what they are now. Yeah. And I don't know. I think it could lead to some fun comedy.
Yeah, like
I don't know if they'll ever do it, but they should.
Scully and Hitchcock on Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
That's why we're friends, man, because this is exactly what I was thinking.
This is why we're friends. We watch the same things and remember them.
Just these two handsome hunks and how they became Hitchcock and Scully. Do that, but with Mrs. Mac and Mrs. Kelly. Yeah.
Cool. Let's move on. We forgot to roll. I do. I get all excited. I wanted to tell you about Cocaine Shark, and then I just like bulldoze past our roll. So let's get that done.
All right.
No juju. Don't predict. Just roll it. There you go. See, you close your fucking mouth and you roll a 20.
And okay.
6.
I was gonna say this is where you get a 1.
One of these days.
Thanks for the assist, Benjamin.
Yeah, no problem.
All right.
So you have a bit more. I only have 2 things before our main topic. So you do one.
Okay. I watched 4 different shows this week, not including It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. So I watched the first episode of Clone High today.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Did you start from the original, or
I just jumped right into the new one.
Oh, okay.
And because I remember enjoying the original season, but if you ask me like what happened that season, I really couldn't tell you. But I just don't have time to rewatch things.
Sure, yeah.
And I just needed to kill 30 minutes, so I put on Clone High, and I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I like the idea of here's these people who are people out of time, and then they get frozen, and they're even more out of time.
Yeah.
And so now they're teenagers who are used to the world of the 90s and early 2000s, and now they're in 2023, and all these teens are different. And I like the concept of Kennedy, like, how is Frida Kahlo the popular girl? Like, this doesn't make sense. This is like the antithesis of everything that was cool back then, but how Joan of Arc was uncool is now cool. Like, it makes sense.
All those tropes of that time of her being the outcast is what makes you popular now.
Yeah, and now Abe being, he was the nice guy in the early seasons. Well, now he's kind of like an incel.
Yeah.
Because he just doesn't get, like, some of the things you used to be able to say, you can't say anymore.
Yeah.
And it led to some great stuff. My favorite joke, it wasn't even a joke that was said. It was his TikTok
apology?
The flip-flop. No, not the apology.
Oh, okay.
His username was Innocent
Abe, yes.
1776. What a fantastic little bit. And that's something, just a perfect comedy joke, writer's thing. It's like, this is just for us.
Yeah.
But it's so good, and I love it. Just really clever, because he's Abraham Lincoln, he's innocent Abe, and he's innocent.
I mean, he was honest Abe.
Honest Abe, yeah.
But it still works.
Still works.
Because in the context of the show, like, he is apologizing for things, and he is, I'm innocent in, my actions, so it makes sense.
But yeah, I enjoy it. My only complaint, and not really complaint, is Scudsworth.
Cinnamon Scudsworth.
Jay Scudsworth. I think it's Jay.
Yeah.
He just seems like he's in the wrong show.
Now. I think he fit before, but not anymore. Because
it seems like he's from a children's cartoon. Very much
like a Perry the Platypus, Phineas and Ferb. No, he actually he looks and acts like someone from Cow and Chicken. Like, he should be in Cow and Chicken. I was going
to say he looks like he reminds me of Mandark from Dexter's Laboratory.
Oh, okay. Or Fairly Odd Parents or something like that.
It just seems like this is a show for adults, but he's from a kid's cartoon.
Yeah.
And him just like throwing hot coffee in his face and going, "Oh, that's hot," and then throws hot coffee in again, just to do a joke about like, "Oh, why would they do the same thing over again?" Wink, wink. But yeah, it just seems so out of place. Where it's just, if he wasn't part of it, or if they just made his character different, I think it would flow a little bit better. Because I just think that this is an adult show, and he's just really out of place. Yeah, they can do dumb kid-like jokes, but I just think he just seems too out there.
I get that, but I've always loved Scudworth, and he has a nice opponent now. I'm assuming, has she put in the glass ceiling? Did she do that in the first one? So yeah, since she's his boss, she puts in a glass ceiling, so he has to like look up like he's in a terrarium, and she's always has some weird lizard, some reptile on it. I think the next episode they do a pretty good joke about her reptiles. Just giving you a heads up.
Okay.
Yeah, I love Clone High. Watched the original when it was on MTV. Like, my buddy kind of introduced me to it because he was attuned to these things, and he started recording them instantly. He's like, this show is not going to last, and it will disappear from the face of the earth. Because this is, like, DVDs were barely a thing at the time. So ever thinking you would have a streaming platform or being able to just pull it from the internet was just not on our mind. So he had to record it. And it did so poorly, they didn't even air the last, like, 4 or 5 episodes. And we didn't even get to see that until it was released on DVD. But I've loved the show from the get-go. I'm sad Gandhi's gone. Gandhi is such a good character. I don't care if people think he's problematic or that he's voiced by a white person. It doesn't matter. It's such a fun take on that historical figure. And they all are. They're all really good. Even if you could say, oh, JFK is just pretty obvious. That Gandhi, this ADD riddled, person who isn't like calm and centered and meditated is just great. And it's a shame they didn't bring him back. Hopefully, you know what would be fun? I would have to rewatch the last episode of seeing him actually get frozen, but they could write around it. He doesn't get frozen. And so everybody got stuck in that age and he grew up. Now he's 20 years older and, his friend gets unthawed and he's a different man. It would be interesting to see what they could do with that.
Well, after watching the first episode, they do show him still in the freezer.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. So I mean,
but they could do anything.
They cut to him. You see his face.
Okay.
It's like the one person they forgot to unfreeze.
Yeah. Or they can just, after they froze everyone, Scudworth, because he has a little bit of a bond with Scudworth in a couple episodes, he just accidentally thaws him out and I don't have the money to refreeze you, so he just raises him. Or he has to go to a normal school and he just grows up and everybody else stays frozen. I would like to see him come back in some capacity. And you were saying, we were talking about this last week off air, if they wanted to do like what they did with Cleopatra, get someone who is ethnically similar to who their character is, you just get Aziz. You get Aziz and you make Aziz do Aziz, and sorry, like anybody, like there's multiple Azizes out there that I'm confusing everyone, and just get him to do it.
Yeah, they have the same energy, and the voice would be drastically different, but that's an easy, my voice got damaged in the unfreezing process, so now I sound like this. Don't worry about it. Ha ha ha.
Yeah, you don't even mention it, because Cleopatra sounds different. It's close enough, that you may not even notice.
But we also really haven't seen Aziz in 5+ years.
Well, he had his little comeback. Didn't he have a special not too long ago?
He had a special a few years ago, but we haven't really seen him since then. He did one episode of his own show when Lena Waithe took over and did her season. But
it takes time for the canceled people to slowly, Louis C.K. is trying, and then won. Didn't he win best comedy album a year or two ago? Even though he's a big creep.
But it's just funny. It's here's this problematic character. They just have someone that is the proper ethnicity to take over, and he's a problematic person.
Yeah.
Not that whatever, but it's just it's funny that we're pitching another. There's another issue to try and fix the other issue.
But anywho, give me another show that you were watching. Unless you have more Clone High to talk about.
I do not.
Okay. Oh, out of all the new characters, who's your favorite?
I guess Frida Kahlo.
Okay.
Because it's just her. Oh, you know what? No, I take that back. We don't get a ton of time with him, but Topher Bus is a pretty funny joke.
And Christopher Columbus changes his name because he got canceled for being problematic, so he just goes by Topher Bus.
That voice actor, I really like his stuff.
Who is it?
I don't remember his name, but he's just that guy who you've seen a bunch of stuff. Oh, God, what? Neil Casey, I believe, is his name.
Okay.
And he's just got a great voice. I mean, he's been in a bunch of comedy things. And if I point him out, you'd be like, "Oh yeah, that guy." But you couldn't. I can't think of
a single thing that he's been in.
Yeah.
Because I'm picturing what's his name from 30 Rock. Oh God, Lars. Is that his character's name?
I guess a similar vibe.
But it's not. Oh, is it the bad guy from Ghostbusters? New Ghostbusters? Not newest. Lady Ghostbusters.
He is in Ghostbusters.
Yeah, he was the bad guy, right? Yes, that's exactly who it is.
Oh yeah, okay. I remember him from The League. He was in the mental institution with Seth Rogen, Dirty Randy, and
Raffi.
And Raffi,
yeah.
Raffi.
I know him from that Yahoo TV show with Milana Vaintrub and I want to say he's Middle Eastern or Pakistani. From Deadpool, what's his name? His friend?
Dopinder was...
Yeah, Dopinder is the character's name. He's the Spider-Man, Indian Spider-Man. He was in this show with Milana Vaintrub and him. And do you remember in The Good Place? Did you watch Good Place?
Yeah.
Yeah. His buddy Pillboy. You remember? You remember Pillboy? He was on it was a space show on Yahoo.
Like I said, he's been in quite
lots
a
of
few
stuff.
Yeah.
What was that show called? Like, it's not inner space. No, other space. I don't something space.
Sure.
Anywho, let's go on to the next
thing. Another thing I watched. I watched the first episode of HBO's The Idol.
Oh yeah, it's sitting on my DVR.
Yeah.
I don't want to pull the trigger on
it. You and I are fans of Euphoria. It's from the creator of Euphoria and The Weeknd. The Weeknd, I like his music. And basically, it's, for those who don't know, it's a show where you have a Britney Spears type in LA who's working on new music, and she's just got a bunch of yes men kind of people around her, and she meets a man at a club, The Weeknd, and their relationship is at the center of this season, and what wild things in the LA scene will cause maybe her downfall or her rise, whatever. The first episode I did not like. I just didn't really get the appeal. Not that this was a huge hit or anything, and this was me going like, oh, I'm going to see what all the hype's about. It's just, it's HBO, so I gave it a chance. There's a lot of great cast in this, but everyone on the show is kind of an awful person, because Lily Rose Depp, she plays the pop star, and they keep mentioning like a mental breakdown she had, and there's like a dance rehearsal, and she's trying her best to do the dance routine, and she's not quite getting it, and so another girl goes up there and she does the routine, and you can just see like her crying under her sunglasses. She just feels like a failure, and then her whole team comes and it's like, oh, we got to deal with this issue and like hide it from her because someone leaked a photo of her with male ejaculate on her face.
Okay.
Yeah, and she's also, Lily Rose Depp is half naked the whole episode. And
is it really rapey? I just hear it's really misogynistic and rapey.
For her first episode, there wasn't any rapey stuff, but there is a thing where the episode opens, she's doing a photo shoot, and then she decides to show her breasts, and the intimacy coordinator who's there is just like, hey, we can't. We can't use these photos. We can't do this. And she's just like, well, it's my body, and you're in my house. Like, I can show my boobs. And he's like, yeah, that's great, but you signed a contract saying you weren't going to do this. If you want to do it, great, but it would take 2 days to redo the contract. And everyone's just like, hey, man, can I talk to you? And they just like shove him into a bathroom and lock him in there. They're like, yeah, we'll just shut the fuck up and we'll just do it. It's like everyone's just kind of being real shitty people to each other. The only like nice person it seems so far is her best friend, who's also her assistant. But she doesn't really have any power to tell anyone no. And there's like kind of moments where she'll like, well, guys, maybe it's like this. Everyone's kind of like, shut the fuck up. Who are you? Like, we're professionals.
Yeah.
And so it just seems like a show where everyone's really sleazy and everyone's really shitty. And I don't see how this is going to be like worth my time, unless it's like you just want something really, really trashy to watch.
Yeah.
Because I imagine there'll be lots of sex, drugs, and rock and roll and all that stuff, which is, cool, I guess. But it's the biggest problem I had with watching the Motley Crue movie.
Yeah.
Because it was just like, oh, these guys were terrible fucking shitheads. Why do I care about them being a good rock band?
Yeah.
And I guess Lily Rose Depp is supposed to be the character we're rooting for, because it's like, oh, she has her troubles and she's got all these bad people around her. It's like, will she rise up? It's like, well, probably not, because The Weeknd is a sleazy club owner who shows up to her house and she's dressed up like Shaft, weirdly, just oozes like creepo. But she's just like, oh, he's kind of bad. He's complicated. I'm into it. It's like, no, like this is like, it's all, she's making terrible decisions, so it's hard to root for her.
Yeah.
And it's just episode 1. I don't know if I give a shit about this show. Okay. So unless I hear that by the end of the season it's really good, I don't think I'm going to stick around.
Okay. Cool.
So I don't recommend The Idol after the first episode.
All right. Well, I'm going to have trouble maybe tuning into that as well. I like Euphoria. I really like Assassination Nation. But from what I've heard of behind the scenes of this show, that what's his name? The guy who created it?
Sam Levinson?
Yeah, he's a big creep. And then The Weeknd is also kind of a creep. behind the scenes of this. Like, they are actively changing script so he can have more screen time with the ladies, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I mean, if you, and I'm not going to speculate on any, but
Do it, speculate.
if you look at this show, seems like it's right up the Weeknd's alley because if you look at some of his music videos are kind of weird towards women in a way, and not necessarily like they're rapey or violent. It just gives off a weird vibe.
Like, I hired 70 really pretty girls to be in this video so I can be surrounded by 70 pretty girls.
No, it's more like here's a couple attractive women in skinty clad outfits, but they're also wearing uh, like ridiculous horror masks.
Okay.
Like that kind of thing. He's a weird guy.
You know what'd be hot? Ghostface with boobs.
Yeah. So just it's not inappropriate, but it's
a little weird.
It's weird.
Okay.
Different, you know.
Well, I watched something that was a little weird. Great. It was a movie that went to theaters, only lasted a week, and I was kicking myself that I didn't use our unlimited pass to go see it. But it's on Hulu now, so whatever. I watched The Devil's Conspiracy. Or The Devil Conspiracy. Devil or Devils? It's one of those. The Devil Conspiracy. This plot is so bizarre. It's pretty much, there's a cult, they want to resurrect Satan. Satan's been chained in hell by the Archangel Michael, and you actually get to see it. You get to see what Satan looks like, and I mean, they look more like Mortal Kombat characters, like kind of a Kotal Khan looking thing. It's just they're unique looking. They're not demony and like overly feathered angels or anything like that. But anywho, so this cult, they steal the Shroud of Turin that has Jesus's DNA. They're going to clone Jesus and put him inside this captive woman. And then Satan is going to go inside her and possess the baby. So then she will give birth to like the Antichrist. The doctor that's cloning, he's been cloning famous people for a while now. Like, they have a showcase of Vivaldi, and he's playing the violin. And look, here's one of our best musicians.
So this takes place in the future?
No, it's modern time.
Oh, okay.
And so then the next, they bring a baby out and like, this is the clone of Michelangelo. And they have an auction and they sell this baby to rich people. So you can raise, the next great painter. So
that's how that works, I guess.
It's all built into your DNA. And so they capture this woman, and they put the embryo in her, and they actually lower her into hell. Like, there is a tunnel that goes into hell. It just seems like it's a couple feet below the ground. And all these demons like grab onto the cage, and Satan turns into a smoke monster and goes into her mouth, and it rejects one girl, but she's like a perfect match and goes in, and now Satan is possessing the fetus, but then can also possess her body. But then also the fetus is not Satan itself. It is its own independent thing. And so she's like trying to kill the baby. And the angel Michael has possessed this dead priest to come and save her. And when I heard about this movie, it sounded real stupid. And I was very excited to watch it because I love trash. But it's not trashy enough. It's pretty competently made. It's fine.
How dare they try?
I know. And the acting is fine. The special effects aren't bad. There's some good blood in it. It's a stupid concept that I wish they lost half their budget and they were forced to use crappier effects, worse actors, and just have a little more fun. It's just kind of dull, but it's not incompetent.
Now, is there any point where so this woman who is now has the devil baby inside of her, she's aware that there's a devil baby inside of her?
Yeah, they're trying to convince her, like, look, this is a good thing. You're going to be the mother of the Antichrist. Like, the next coming, the future is going to be great because of this. So you should be proud of what we're doing to you.
So she's like held captive by these people. Okay, I was going to say, was there any point where she tried to drink holy water?
No, but she drinks like bleach. She's like, fuck this baby, and just starts drinking chemicals and stuff. But then Satan takes over her and pukes it all up, and just like, this fucking bitch. That's tie me down so she can't hurt me. I'm gonna be born, damn it. And then the whole time the angel Michael is just like, ooh, why is God doing this? This is real stupid of him. You know, why would God let Satan get free? Of course, God has a plan because he knew the hubris of Satan, of the only being that would be able to hold his evilness would be the body of Jesus, the clone baby of Jesus. But since he knew that, he knew the clone baby of Jesus would be too powerful for the devil to possess, and the baby was able to like fight back and expel Satan from him. But at the very end, you know, she's raising the kid and everything's hunky dory, and it kind of like looks back, and the woman who's running the cult like pokes out from behind the tree, and they like kind of give each other finger guns or something. I can't remember. I think like smoke comes out of his eyes, like, oh, Satan may still be in there.
Huh.
Setting up for the sequel that we'll never get.
How old does the kid get by the end?
Like 3.
Oh.
I mean, like we only see it like I don't even think we see it born. No, yeah, she gets away still pregnant, and then there's a time jump.
Well, speaking of Clone High, this has to do with what you're saying. I don't know if you remember me pitching this show to you, but I'll pitch it on here, and then if anyone wants to make it in the real world, great, you have my permission.
We just want 0.5% of all the profits.
Yeah, of course.
0.5%?
Give me a shout out saying, like, this guy had the idea, I just ran with it.
All we want is a like and subscribe. That's
like all. A decade ago or more, I came up with a show called Paradise Falls, and it was going to be an animated show where it was after the apocalypse. The remaining members of humanity are now mixed with like different deities, and it's just like Jesus and the devil. It's like the devil was bored, you know, running the apocalypse, and Jesus was just like living up in heaven. It's like, you know, I'm hanging out with the same people, and they all just like all these deities and stuff just move into an apartment complex called Paradise Falls.
I do remember that.
And so Jesus and the devil were roommates, and it was just kind of like they're back and forth. So you talking about Jesus being grown up is like, oh, you know what? I'd like to see in a Clone High sense, just kind of a modern day Jesus who just like wants to hang out and do normal stuff, and the devil just is like wants to relax, but everyone's like constantly. He's kind of like the big man, you know, around town because he's like, oh, he's like it's kind of like attack on celebrity culture and also religious ideas and just a blending of these. How silly it's all going to be. So just because we talked about those two things, I want to pitch that show. So anyway, Paradise Falls.
I can't see it being taking place in the apocalypse though, because why would there even be like people moving into an apartment complex if the world is destroyed?
Well, no, it's like the world isn't necessarily destroyed. It's just hell has risen. There was a period of, you know, a decade or 20 years.
Or like the rapture.
And like it's just humanity survived. It's just like there was a big mostly wiped out a big chunk of the planet or whatever, and now demons and god deities and humans, they all just kind of live together in somewhat harmony. You know, there's probably like a demon bar that certain people can go to, and obviously there'll be like cults who worship, and then like some cults are just like, dude, shut the fuck up, like I don't want you guys to worship me. And then other people are just like, you know, there'll be women who are like, oh, I just want to sleep with you know, the devil, and the devil's just like, like he just ran through so many people in his apocalypse time. It's just like he's just basically like an old rock star at this point. And you know, this is just off the top of my head kind of stuff. I haven't really flushed it all out. But yeah, I thought, you know, since we're talking about these two things, I thought it was a perfect blend. And yeah, if any of you creative types who might be listening, Paradise Falls, get it made.
Got it. So you also watched you started some other shows?
I did. So I have 2 shows, a comedy and a drama, both Apple TV Plus shows. I started Platonic.
Oh, okay. How was that?
With Seth Rogen and Rose Byrne. Directed by Nicholas Stoller, who also directed them in Neighbors. Neighbors was a movie I really enjoyed. Thought it was really funny. Good. Yeah. This is definitely a show for the older generation in terms of, you know, anyone who's 35 plus. Not that younger people couldn't enjoy it. Basically, Rose Byrne is married, mother of 3 kids, and it's been a few years since she's been like talked to her best friend. They had a falling out. Her best friend is Seth Rogen. Seth Rogen co-runs a brewery with his buddies, and he's kind of like just a dude who never really grew up. and he recently got a divorce, so she reached out, and now they connected again, and they're hanging out, and hilarity ensues.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
The chemistry between these two are really, really great. I'm only 2 or 3 episodes in. All the episodes haven't aired, but I do enjoy it. It's not, laugh a minute. It's just when these two are together, it just feels right.
Mm-hmm.
And at no point do they really let off, so far, let off any sort of "we're going to get together." She's happily married, and it just feels like friend banter.
Okay.
And
It's not like they've been friends for years and he's always had a crush on her but never was able to, or is
that's information that hasn't been revealed
okay?
yet. If that
Okay.
is the case,
All right.
it's just they were friends in college and they spent a lot of time together. And like even her husband is just like, oh, he's going through a divorce. Like you should reach out to him. She's like, I
Mm-hmm.
haven't talked to that guy in years. And it's like you should. He's a very supportive husband, and in that sense, he's not threatened by him.
Mm-hmm.
And watching Seth Rogen the show kind of reminds me of our friend Nick in terms of when Nick is pushing 40, this is kind of how I
Okay.
could see him.
Okay.
Not as like a
Take
failure,
that, Nick.
not as like a failure or anything, but just the way Seth Rogen dresses
Okay.
is pretty funny and just seems like
Grow up, Nick.
stop. It's not a diss by any means. Uh, but there's just a scene where they first see each other and they like meet up for coffee or whatever, and he's like, how's your kids? And she's like, oh, good. You want to see a picture? He's like, sure. And she shows him a picture. He's like, yep, there they are. It's just that scene. I was like, man, I just feel like that's Nick, because he just be like, why do I give a fuck about your kids?
Yeah. I'm happy that you're happy with your kids, but
Yeah.
I don't need to see
I don't need to see them. Yeah.
Take notes, Steve.
Yeah. But it's it's in. I didn't think much of it when I saw the trailer, but I just needed a 30-minute comedy to sort of kill
Yeah.
as we're like eating or something, and it's been enjoyable.
Is there a bigger plot of like, oh, if I don't come up with the money, I'm going to lose my brewery?
So far, not really.
Okay.
It's just kind of seems like she's a little bored in her life, just raising the family. She was she went to law school and she was going to be a lawyer, but then she had kids and decided to be a stay-at-home mom for the past 13 years. And I think it's just these two who need each other at this point in time, because he's kind of a loser and is refusing to grow up. She grew up but isn't having any fun. So them together, are they toxic for each other at this point because they're doing shit they were doing when they were in their 20s,
Mm-hmm.
and now they're in their 40s? It's like, are we good for each other, or should we not be friends? But so far they're in that like we're having a good time together phase because it's early in the season.
Did you say they met in college or something?
I believe they met in college.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, I just the chemistry between these two works, and you saw it in Neighbors, and it they played married couple, now they're playing best friends.
Yeah.
They're good together, and I'd like to see them in more stuff.
Cool.
And the other show I watched is another Apple TV Plus show called C, starring Jason Momoa.
Oh, yeah.
This show I won't talk about until I at least finish the first season. I think I'm 4 episodes in at this point. The only thing I'll say is it feels like this is a young adult novel series that just happens to follow Jason Momoa.
Okay.
I mean, there is. So the premise is it's hundreds of years after a event happened on Earth where people just lost the ability to see, and it's 400 plus years later. Society has shifted back to sort of like a tribal state.
What's the event?
It's like a COVID outbreak kind of thing. It's just like some sort of pandemic that just suddenly people just lost the ability to see.
Did you ever see Blindness?
I think that's what I know of it. I've never gotten around to see it. It was Julianne Moore.
Yeah, and everyone goes blind except for like one dude. And...
Yeah. And so one day, Jason Momoa meets a woman. She is pregnant by another man. She has twins. Those twins can see, and they have to raise them. And they discover what books are, because there isn't a written language or anything like that. They have it like seeing the world, or like how people function in a world where you can't see. I always like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And there's some pretty cool ideas in there. but it also seems like some of these people just have fucking superpowers. And I understand, like, maybe
your other senses get stronger.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, there's that.
But they're all daredevils.
And it's also 400 years plus in the future, whatever it is. So
Evolution.
maybe people have evolved in a way that, like, that's how we survive. But it just seems so odd that there are moments where there's certain people who can hear some, like, there's 200 men a mile away. They're approaching. Like, they can they can hear like that. And there's certain people called sentiers. Like, they can smell blood on someone's jacket or something like that. But, and then in other moments, it just seems like anyone can sneak up behind them. It's like, oh, when did they get there? It's
like the zombies on Walking Dead. You know, they're loud, they're shuffling. You shouldn't be able to be surprised by them, but oh my god, they're right there.
Yeah. Or there's people who can, like, hear heart. I don't know. The rules are kind of vague in terms of who has certain abilities. But yeah, it sort of seems like these two young kids are the chosen ones who will lead the world into a new way, but I haven't really got that far into the show. But I will say the action sequences in the show are fucking badass. Yeah. Jason Momoa is very good at fight scenes. You saw it in Dune, you saw it in this, and I watched a show called Frontier on Netflix. Not the greatest show, but there's some action sequences in that where he's pretty fucking badass. He's just a dude wielding a tomahawk, just taking out British guys. There's some pretty good stuff. So I can't say the show's great, but I'm enjoying it so far, and it's beautifully shot. It's well made. It's just I don't think the writing's super strong. But it kind of hinges just on the concept. But it just does a bunch of other things well enough that is keeping me engaged. And it's only 3 seasons, and each season I think is 8 episodes. So it'll be over real quick. And the other thing about this show is it does that thing, much like the young adult novels, where, it's this, here's the concept, it's set in the future, things are bleak, everyone's got dumb fucking names. So Jason Momoa's character's name is Baba Voss, and there's another person named Gether Bex, or something like that. It's just absurd things.
It's Cloud Atlas stuff.
And then Alfre Woodard's in it, and her name is Paris. So yeah, it's just, it's that thing where it's like, they just have someone named like Dennis or something like that. Just, what is that? And I know obviously names change over the course of time. No one's named Abraham anymore. Really,
very few.
Yeah,
we have some weird names.
I get it. It's fine. It's just one of those things. I'm just tired of these absurd names.
This is more fantasy and not science fiction.
Oh no, it's 100% science fiction.
Really? Even with like being able to sense 200 people a mile away, that seems like that's fantasy. A world where everybody goes blind and doing realistic takes on how the world would survive and evolve, that's science fiction. But being able to like smell the blood on someone's coat and stuff, that seems like fantasy.
Well, I said, it's very glossed over, but you could argue that that's evolution. There's animals that have abilities, but they're not superpowers. Humans have just developed ways to survive. I say superpowers just because it's like the easiest way to explain it, but they're not so absurd that I would say that they're superhuman, but they're a little bit ridiculous.
And there's no like prophecy or anything like that, right?
No, not so far.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just there was one guy who could see, got another woman pregnant. She had 2 kids. They can see, and
why can that guy see?
I haven't gotten that far.
Answer me, Steve.
I'm just
get on Wikipedia and answer this question for
me. Now,
me.
there's like religious cults and stuff, and they believe in, the god flame, which I think is just the sun.
Okay.
And they think that they don't have no concept of how concrete was made. So all these giant buildings and stone structures they call God's bone because they just think that these buildings were left by the gods. And like that kind of thing.
So they do still live in cities and stuff like that? It's not like they've retreated back into the woods?
So our main group live in the woods by like a waterfall. They're very tribal. But they have there was a festival they went to and it took place at like Six Flags or something like that. It was just, you could see roller coasters, but there were buildings in the background. Because it's been so long, they're buildings, it's not like they've gone to, I haven't seen New York or Pittsburgh or whatever. Because it's set in Pennsylvania.
Okay. I was going to say Pittsburgh. That's a weird choice. New York or Pittsburgh.
they get a box full of books, and in it is like an atlas from the year whatever it is, and they're like, oh, we're here, but we're actually this far from Pittsburgh, whatever that is. So we haven't gone to like a major city, but we have been in buildings.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you gonna watch The Crowded Room?
No, I doubt it.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if I care enough. I like Tom Holland. I like what's her name? Emmy Rossum.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I watched a trailer, but I totally forget what that show's about.
Yeah, it's like he has a dissociative identity disorder, and like a bunch of women were raped, and he's like, it wasn't me, it was my other identity. Or something.
Oh.
Yeah.
Fun.
Based on a true story, apparently.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I forgot another show I watched.
Oh, what?
That I watched from beginning to end. I don't think we talked about it last week. Blackbird?
Oh, yeah, you started Blackbird. You hadn't. Okay.
I apologize. I totally forgot. All right, real quick. Blackbird.
I know. I talked about it on the show.
I really liked it. Crazy this was a true story. That guy was a monster.
Yeah. And beautifully played by, what's his name? I was going to call him Paul Thomas Anderson.
It's like,
Paul Walter Hauser.
Yeah. It just seems like the first episode just seems like, how can we get Taron Egerton as shirtless as possible? Because that dude is way too jacked in the show.
Yeah.
It was, jarring. Because every time he was in clothes, I was like, it seems like he's about to Hulk out of these things. It's like, he's allowed to wear less fitting clothes. But whatever. But seeing him paired up with
Paul Walter Hauser.
I'm trying to think of the killer's name.
Mr. Blackbird.
Yeah, Mr. Blackbird. So it was 6 episodes, super short.
And the whole premise is he has to try to get information out of this killer to find the bodies of his victims, and they will cut his prison. Oh, he'll be able to walk out of prison.
Yeah. So he got 10 years for basically selling drugs. Yeah. He thought he was going to get 5, but he got screwed over because they wanted to make an example out of him. He got 10, and so he takes this deal to go to a maximum security prison,
the worst of the worst,
and try and befriend this suspected serial killer. And get him to confess, and it's a pretty intense ride.
Yeah.
Watching the show, it made me think, like, I bet a lot of this is made up for dramatic effect. Sure. And I know he's written books about the event, and I haven't done any research to how accurate.
We don't do research on this podcast.
But the fact that, I looked it up after the show was over, and looked up the serial killer's Wikipedia, where it is suspected he's done horrible things to like 40 or 50 women, and it's just crazy. And the thing is, his active state was only for like 6 fucking months. Damn. Something like that. Like it might have just been when he started from the first case that they sort of recognized was a serial killing event, and when they caught him might have only been 3 to 6 months or whatever it was. But he might have been doing things for like a long time before that. And
it could have been bigger spaces in between each time, and then they got closer and closer.
But just seeing some of the police work that was done at the beginning, where they were just like, you know how women are. They say a guy was being creepy, but he was just driving by or whatever. It's like, oh, this girl said she was sexually harassed by this guy in a van, but we didn't follow up on it because nothing happened.
Yeah.
And it's just like, Jesus Christ. Because this was set in the 80s, when this was all sort of going down, and it's just like, you could have caught this guy ages ago. You could have saved lives, but because it was just like, girls complaining, you did nothing, and horrible things happened. And it was real. But then you have Greg Kinnear, who I haven't seen in a while. It's nice to see Greg Kinnear. I was like, oh, he's in this?
Yeah.
Him actually doing good police work and like kind of calling the other policemen out.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, I'm sorry, you fucking suck at your job.
And they knew who he was, right? Like this, he was on their radar, but they just kind of never did anything about it.
Or like one of the police officers went to high school with him. And just like, oh yeah, I know this guy. Like, he's a weirdo.
Yeah,
but he's not gonna hurt anybody. It's like, well, he hurt a lot of people, and just because you thought he was harmless because he's so like meek and quiet and a little bit mentally unwell, you're just like, oh, well, he's just the village idiot kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But he was the village murderer. So, anyway, Blackbird, super intense. Really enjoyed it. Great performances all across the board. Yeah.
There's two things I want to bring up. One, what a stupid asshole Ray Liotta is. Just like, yeah, I told everybody you're the son of a cop and they're gonna treat you right. Like, Dad, are you fucking stupid? They're gonna murder me for that. Like, are you that naive? Come on, I thought you were like a big, cool, crooked cop, and you think you would be a little more hip to it. So that was pretty funny of him realizing he kind of like put a target on his son's back.
Oh, well, I'm glad you bring this up because two things. One, in real life, the guy's dad was not a cop; he was a fireman.
Oh,
so this was made up for the show to sort of put him in a more dubious place. The other thing about Ray Liotta, I thought Ray Liotta was great in this show.
Yeah.
We only see Ray Liotta do kind of bit parts over the past 20, 30 years because he had his big break in Goodfellas, and it was like, oh man, Ray Liotta is a fucking legend. I feel like he's just kind of just been in things for a long time, so he's just one of those Hollywood legends, but he's never had like a big thing since Goodfellas, at least that I can think of. Maybe
I bet there's something
early
that's
90s that
a glaring thing of like, duh, this thing. But yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
He's one of those actors like your John Cusacks and stuff, or your Bruce Willis's. Just, this is a Walmart release movie, and oh look, Ray Liotta's in it. Well, who cares? He always gives a good performance, but I know I'm not buying that movie just because Ray Liotta's in it.
But just as a aging, physically unwell dad.
He has a stroke, right?
Yeah, he has a stroke, and they're like, he doesn't have much time left, so it kind of incentivizes Taron Egerton's character to do this so he can get out to be with his dad before he dies.
Yeah.
But Ray Liotta's love for his son and everything is like, yeah, I was a piece of shit, but like I love my boy, and just everything he does to try and help him out, even when he like fucks up and screws him over because he's like kind of forgetful in his old age. I don't know. I just thought Ray Liotta was really great, and seeing that now, like, oh man, I'm kind of sad Ray Liotta's gone.
Yeah, he died like a year ago, but if you look on his IMDb, he still has stuff that hasn't come out yet.
Dude was working.
Yeah.
So yeah, he was also in Observe and Report.
Yeah.
Observe and Report. Not because he wasn't necessarily great in Observe and Report, but
we were just talking about Seth Rogen. So, yeah.
So anyway, Blackbird really impressed me.
The other thing that I felt was kind of weird in the show, they set up this kind of side story of him being good with the gang families, and he fears, they're going to find out about my dad being a cop and they're going to kill me. But that doesn't really go anywhere. They kind of build up all this tension of, oh my god, he's coming out in the yard, everyone's looking at him, and nothing ever happens.
Yeah, that's one of the things where I thought, this seems like it's a made-up-for-the-show thing. And I bet it was. And I'm sure that, of course, there were gangs that he had to be friendly with. I'm not saying that the Italian Don or whatever that he talks to wasn't a real guy in jail. Yeah. But I think it was more of just like, they had a conversation understanding. It's like, you cool? Yeah, I'm cool. All right. Don't fuck with my money or whatever. Yeah. It's like... and then I'm sure that there was probably crooked prison guards there, but just a guy
there was that one that was like
I'm gonna get you killed if you don't get me $10,000 of drug money.
I'm in fucking prison, man. How am I gonna get you money?
Because he figured out that he's there to rat on somebody.
Yeah.
I thought it was funny. It's just like, oh, you want to rat out the weirdo rapist dude? Yeah. Go rat him out. Who gives a fuck? Fuck that guy. But you're still gonna give me my $10,000. So it was one of those things where it's like, I get it. You need to give this character more to do. Sure. But honestly, the show was at its best when it was just those two guys just talking and just sort of, you see this guy who's really into cleaning products just slowly go like, oh, so you've been with women? And when they start talking like sexual fantasy stuff, and you just see his eyes turn to like this dark monster, just like, oh yeah, well, like my clothes were all, I woke up and I didn't rape her, but when I woke up, my clothes were off, her clothes were off, but she definitely wanted it, and I was just like, makes your skin crawl.
A major creep.
Yeah.
Yeah, like him talking about like, yeah, my brother's saying like pussy's wet and it ain't wet, right? Like, yeah, it's supposed to be like, nah, it's dry.
I just shove it in there.
It's like, oh my god.
But this goes with that. But the final episode where his brother talks about like his him losing his virginity, just like, yeah, we found this girl on the side of the road and we gave her a ride, and me and her fooled around a little bit, and then I went to sleep, and then those two started going, and he was just like got crazy. I was like, you dude, you're like admitting to like,
yeah,
like you were
an accomplice,
accomplice to like sexually assaulting this woman. It's like,
yeah,
you're admitting that to the fucking FBI and cops, and they're just like, all right, man, thanks for the beer, have a good one. They just fucking leave. It's like, I know it's like you'll never find that woman again, and she wasn't murdered.
Sure.
So I get why it's just like there's no point in following this up. It's like that's pretty bold. I like to admit, yeah, I did this fucking horrible crime with my serial killer brother, but it is what it is. So it's like, all right. But his brother did do a nice thing, getting him to confess to 15 murders. Even though he
eventually,
yeah. But yeah, just that whole family was gross and sleep. Oh, and the like, I liked his origin story of his dad. Well, one, having a twin brother that ate all the good nutrients, and that's what made him sort of
a fucking weirdo.
Yeah. Where his brother is like handsome and tall and physically fit and normal, quote unquote, and then he's just this fat schlub who it's like you couldn't put those two together. They were brothers, twin brothers anyway. And then their dad being a grave digger and making him jump in graves and steal loot. It's like cutting people's fingers off. And just awful thing for a small child to have to do on a regular basis. Just work around dead bodies.
Yeah,
it's just like, oh, you can see where maybe this wouldn't be the thing that made him do what maybe he was always going to do what he was going to do, but this definitely didn't help.
It didn't nurture him in the proper way. Good little show. All right,
I'm out of things.
You're out. I got one more. Okay. We'll be quick about it. New release this week: Transformers: Rise of the Beasts, the 7th Transformers movie, not counting any sort of animated thing. I was talking to a friend of the show, Nick, and I think Transformers is the worst franchise out there.
I could probably agree with that.
And I think some
maybe there's something I'm forgetting, but I
would say like Fast and the Furious, but there's some charm to that. There's characters you like, and there's action sequences that you like.
I think they try. They don't succeed, but I think they try.
They try. And Transformers, they just do the same thing every time. Now this one is smart in we don't need a huge cast of humans. We're here for robot fights. So let's pare it down, smaller cast. Excellent. But the robot fights are so boring. Nothing is interesting in these action sequences. They're less chaotic and noisy than the Michael Bay ones, but they're still nothing interesting. This movie sucks. This movie's real bad, and I'm seeing a lot of people, even like Chris Stuckman and Dan Murrell, like people going, this one's not so bad. I kind of enjoyed it. I don't get it. And I think that's more of a Stockholm Syndrome thing. They've been beat down by so many bad Transformers movies that when one is not nearly as awful, it makes you feel like, oh, this is kind of good. It's not.
It's a step forward.
Bumblebee was a step forward, but it still wasn't like a great movie. It was fine. It was just better than the other ones. And
it was smaller.
It was smaller. And this should have been another small step, but it's a huge step. We're going from a small Bumblebee story back to fucking Unicron, planet destroying. We go to the biggest fucking bad guy that you have in Transformers, and it's not needed. We're still doing the same dumb bullshit of Bumblebee can't talk. He still has to do his little pop culture radio speaking. We still have kind of, I don't want to see like racial Transformers. And let's say like nationalities more than race. It's not like the obvious racist twin robots from 2 or the samurai or the drunk Scottish ones. Like there was a French one, I think, in last night. Like, why the fuck would the Transformer be French? It doesn't make any sense. But we do have one that has kind of like a British accent, and I'll get to it. Let me hold on. Designs. I got to talk about the designs. I got to get back to that one character. But it just feels like more of the same. It's just toned down. And it's not interesting because they're not interested in building the world. It's so inconsistent. Like, you could have, and I'm not talking, like, I am talking about plot. They don't care about the history, how long they've been here. Because, like, in the last night, they were talking about how the Transformers had something to do with, like, the Underground Railroad, and they were fighting Nazis. But when you go to Transformers 1, there's no mention of that. They're just saying, we just arrived. Yeah, like, they're so inconsistent with their actual lore. And this was a chance that they could finally, start fresh. But they don't care. The Transformers are here, and they want to get the fuck off the planet. There's a MacGuffin. They got to get the thing away from the bad guy because the bad guy's going to kill everybody. It's so boring and just uninspired. Shit, I was going somewhere with that, but yeah, they're not interested in building their lore. They're only interested in character designs.
Mm-hmm.
And I will say this is probably the best looking of all the Transformers when it comes to the actual robots. The Maximals are all relatively cool, but I don't think we spend enough time with them. It's still the Bumblebee Optimus Prime show. We do have a new kind of Bumblebee with Mirage. What's his fucking face? What's his name? Pete Davidson is Mirage, and he's the sidekick to the main human character, which is good because I'm sick of Bumblebee. If you can't speak, get the fuck out of here, go away. And luckily, like, he dies. Of course, he comes back. Everybody always dies and comes back. Optimus has died like 4 times, always comes back. And so that, like, we have these other Transformers we've seen before, and then also the Maximals, but they don't get enough time. I don't think Optimus Prime should have been in this. I don't think Bumblebee should have been in this. This should have just been about the Beast Wars characters. And
sure.
But it just felt like an Age of Extinction. We're like, well, we haven't done the Dinobots yet, so let's put the Dinobots in.
Now, Age of Extinction, 4 was the last one I saw, and that's when I was like, I'm done with this franchise.
Yeah.
Actually, no, that's a lie. I did see Bumblebee.
Yeah.
But I did not see The Last Night. And
that was the only one I didn't see in theaters either.
And I had no real desire to see this one. But I remember when I saw the trailer for Age of Extinction, I was like, oh, the Dinobots are in this. Dinosaurs are cool.
Yeah.
But they're in it for like 6 minutes.
Yeah. And it's just we need reinforcements. Call the Dinobots. And then they're just there.
And they're just there.
What have you been doing this whole time?
Is it as egregious as that? Or do they get 30 minutes of
No, they're definitely in most of it. But, like, there's a Rhino one. I don't even remember seeing him transform into his robot form. I just remember
because the Rhino is my favorite character.
I'm sure he did, because there was
second favorite.
There was a little part where, like, the bird good guy dies, and I kind of fell asleep for a minute, and I woke up and they're like, oh man, I really sucked, that bird transformer died. And I was like, oh shit, I missed that. So there could have been something like that where Rhino Man transformed and I didn't see, but they definitely get more screen time. They just should have had all the screen time. But, like, here's another thing, a reason why, like, they don't care about anything. All the Maximals were from another planet. It looks like Earth. It had a ring around it, like Saturn. Unicron came. He's a planet eater. He's eating the planet, and they have to get off planet and hide the crystal of teleportation, whatever the fuck the MacGuffin thing is. But when they're on this planet, they are a bird, an ape, a cheetah, a rhino. But you don't see any animals there, so whatever. And then they escape and land on Earth. Oh, just so happens that this planet also has apes, rhinos, cheetahs, and birds. But they're not the same size of an ape.
Right.
It's Mighty Joe Young size. It's huge. So why are you even transforming into an ape? You're not blending in with other apes. You're enormous. You're King Kong size. So why do you do this? It doesn't make any sense. And it's just, well, we have these toys, we have these characters, let's just put them in this. And if they just put a little effort into trying to make that work, I think it could kind of be interesting.
Yeah, I think if the corporate machine gave a fuck, they'd go, okay, we're going to not make another Transformers movie for 15 years.
Yep.
Maybe even a decade, let's say. And then let the franchise die a little bit and go like, okay, we're still going to care about selling toys, but we're also going to care about story. and characters and plot, and just let this shit die, take a break, and then come back and make actual good Transformers movies. Eliminate the human element, because the humans aren't selling toys. The Transformers selling toys.
Mm-hmm.
Make it animated. Make it all set on Cybertron. Who gives a shit? But just, just try. It doesn't have to be great, but just try.
And like, the comic books apparently are really good about fleshing out where they came from and their whole, like, I don't get their life cycle. Yes, there's a planet, Cybertron, everybody is robotic, but I don't get why. I don't see how evolution, in an evolutionary sense, why would they be able to transform? Why just metal? What is that world like? How do you grow up? Do you have children? What's family? Like, I want to know these sort of bigger life questions of what it's like to be a transformer, other than I can turn into a truck and I shoot things. So I think we are going to maybe get something you want. There is a new movie coming out, an animated movie where, like, Chris Hemsworth is Optimus Prime, which I think, if you think of his Thor voice, he could do that. He could do that Optimus Prime voice. So I think we are getting, okay, this is our new reboot. Let's try even harder. But you're right. They should have not made Bumblebee, stopped at last night, and just let it die for a while. And then really look at the source material and find out how to make something interesting that isn't just, oh my god, I'm a crazy young adult and I ran into a transformer. I gotta help him do this thing and I'm the only one that can help. It's because that's what it is every single time.
I mean, and I know I'm asking a lot because having humans in it saves money too, because then the movie's not all CG.
Sure, and it helps with exposition. You can explain the things to the naive humans.
Right. But now I don't remember Bumblebee all that well, but I remember the first 10 minutes or something was all on Cybertron.
Yeah.
And there was some really cool stuff there. Yeah. And I was like, I'd like to see a movie of that.
Make that. Yep.
Yeah. That's all you need.
So I have a couple of things I want to talk about. When I said they don't understand, the lore, they don't understand, power levels and abilities. There's a part Bumblebee is jumping out of a plane, and he's sniping things from the air and just taking them out one shot at a time. But then he'll be on the ground, and he'll put 20 bullets into another robot, and it takes every single shot. You were just killing everybody with one shot. Optimus Prime has his axe and his sword, and he'll be fighting someone, and if it's the main bad guy, of course, the dude's able to block it with his hands like nothing. But if he's fighting a lower tier guy, slices that robot in half like it's nothing.
I mean, that's every action movie with actual humans too.
And I get it. It's just, I wish I understood their biology, because Mirage is taking bullets, blocking them, and saving the kid. I think his name's Noah, and dies on top of them. And he comes back to life for a second and goes, I'm out of this, but I could help you. And he lets all of his pieces drop and form around the kid. So now this kid is like an Iron Man. He has a robot suit on made of Mirage's body. I'm surprised they didn't even do Mirage in his ear. Hey man, my consciousness is still here with you. He just dies and gives up his flesh. Yeah, he's like a new Jesus.
Yeah, because if you are made of parts and stuff, that's fine. But they're still, I would imagine, with you're saying, with their biology, that they're still alive in a sense. So once he dies, those parts just shouldn't work anymore. Because then he's not one singular being. He's just a bunch of... He's a bunch of beings, I guess.
Yeah, it's like putting your fingers where your toes used to be and expecting them to be able to work. I'm well, no, you cut these off a body. They don't work anymore. There's no circulatory system. There's no living anything to it.
Yeah.
So that doesn't make sense. And then the transforming doesn't make sense either, where they can turn into whatever they want. We've seen Bumblebee change from one type of car to another, but they've all been relatively the same size. They just scan whatever they need to, and they change. Well, he's a Porsche. Mirage is a Porsche. And they're we got to sneak into this area. How are we going to do that? Oh, you leave it to me. And he transforms into a dump truck. A dump truck is 6 Porsches. You don't have the mass. We don't know that they can change their metal to stretch it in a way to reproduce. They only have X amount of parts, and they could reposition it how they want to and transform into different things. But a dump truck is so much bigger. if they showed like from the inside,
right? That's what.
And it's completely hollow, and he's like, I don't know if I can maintain this, man. I'm all shell.
That too, yeah.
Something if it's like that, but it's just no, it works. It's fine.
Yeah, and it's also, once again, it's a movie. Who gives a shit? But I'm also interested in. Okay, so I get you can scan a car and you have their parts. Because most of it's metal. Or you can scan an animal and it's like, okay, I'm going to make that animal with my parts. How do they make rubber tires?
Yeah, I mean, the tires are just always on their back or something.
Yeah, it's
like,
just...
They can't change that.
Yeah, because I think if you were on Cybertron...
There would be no rubber tires.
There'd probably be no... I mean, can you scan other materials and get that...
Yeah, like you change your metal into a rubber.
Yeah.
Like, can you change the alchemy of it? I don't think so. So I think the rubber is just metal, but
disguised as rubber.
Yeah, it's like, oh, well, now instead of being a flat, hard piece of metal, it's a bunch of tiny little scales almost. Mm. And so it could run like a tire, it could look like a tire, right. But it's actually just metal. But they don't care about answering those sorts of questions.
And I mean, it really doesn't.
And it doesn't. But I wish they cared a little bit about it. There's a part at the end where they blow up the machine and they got to get out of there. It's sucking everything in, and Optimus tells everybody to go away. He'll sacrifice himself because he does it every single time. And he's getting sucked in, and he's like hooked on by his axe. And then here comes Noah in his mech suit, and he's holding on to the axe. And he's like, "No, Optimus, we're all family." And if they had some phrase like, if one survives, our tail lives on. I don't know, something like, you're not gonna die. And Optimus is like, "No, save yourself. Let me go." Optimus, you're holding on to that axe. Let go. He's holding, like, the Noah's holding onto the axe to try to pull him back. You want him to survive? Just let go yourself. But I think Optimus was a big chicken shit, didn't want to die. He's like, no, let me sacrifice myself and be not very selfish. Please pull me in. I'm not gonna let go of this axe. Please save me. Let's talk about designs. I think everybody looks pretty good. These are some interesting looking robots. Especially the big monkey man,
Optimus Primal.
Yes, he kind of looks like a robot Batman when he turns into a robot. He's got kind of a cool look. I always liked RC. Of course, you got to have a pink lady robot. Representation. I just wish they did it like I like the 3 motorcycles, and then it's like, because think of all the parts in a motorcycle. How big is that transformer? Not very big. Of course, it's 8 feet tall. Sure. And it's strong and everything. But I like the idea of like 3 bikes become one machine and can whatever. Everyone looks pretty cool. I like everybody's designs, except for the one that has like a British accent, because he has like rear view mirrors or side mirrors that form to look like glasses, and then he has like suspenders. He's a fucking dork robot. It's so stupid. He looks just like a big nerd. And they did that before. They would give like John Goodman like a metal cigar to chomp on and a metal beard. Like, why do they have beards? Why does this one have to be a samurai? The Ken Watanabe one is just like in a samurai garb. Like, why do you have to be so specific with these designs? They can't just be cool looking. They got to have glasses and suspenders. I'm surprised they didn't have some sort of pocket protector thing as well.
Yeah, I mean, I understand from a creative standpoint. It's like, well, we need to make sure that our robots differentiate each other than, like, they all look the same, but this one is the blue one.
Yeah.
This one's the yellow one.
Which was a problem, especially 2. They all just look the same.
Yeah. So it's like, how do we differentiate them? Well, we give them characteristics that humans can understand, like the samurai, like the whatever. So I get it. But if you're trying to make it believable, and it's like, they kind of explain in the first one where it's, oh, I scanned the internet, and so I learned all of human culture. So it's like, they kind of have a reason. It's like, oh, I thought that was a cool look, so I went with that. But just having them talk like humans or look like human characteristics and stuff, it just seems absurd. It's like, lean into them being alien creatures who can just happen to turn into machines. Or, well, I know they are machines, but you know what I mean. They don't need to look like humans too.
Yeah, and things like why is this robot called Bumblebee? They don't have bees on Cybertron. Why is he named that? I understand Mirage. He can make mirages of himself. Optimus Prime, that sounds very suitable for the planet, but for other ones are just modern or like English words. And if it was my name is, well, you can't understand it or even speak it in our language, but it boils down to like small, fast, yellow, dangerous, and someone and like when you take those words, a bumblebee makes the most sense. So I go by Bumblebee.
I think you want to go by something cool like Hornet, though.
Yeah, something.
That'd be the joke. It's like, oh, that's a horn, and then someone's like, Bumblebee. It's like, all right, we're calling it Bumblebee. That's like, ah, damn it.
Yeah, so it's things like that's what I look for in these things, trying to put logic to the most ridiculous thing, because every episode of this cartoon show was just, we need Energon to get back to Cybertron. Oh, look, there's an active volcano. Can we use the thermal activity of this volcano to make Energon? Yes, we can. Oh no, the Decepticons showed up and are trying to steal our Energon. And that's what it was every single episode. They are just things to sell toys. And then, so you can excuse the movies of being absolutely lack of depth and history, because it is just a toy commercial. So they are just following suit. Oh no, there's a thing. We stop the thing and save the day. And that's what this is day after, or movie after movie.
Yeah.
And back to design real quick. Optimus looks like shit when his mouth is down. He has these like slit nostrils. It's so ugly. I don't know why they chose it. And they said, oh, we wanted to make him look more like Peter Cullen. Okay, maybe he does, but Peter Cullen doesn't have weird slit nostrils. He looks like more animal-like. Don't like it. And then the mech suit that our lead actor is wearing. Do you remember in the Rick and Morty Purge episode when they're on the Purge planet, and then they wear those robot suits and they go ham and they just start killing everybody? It looks like that, except kind of you have like clunky lights on it, like headlights because it's part of Cars. Right. It looked like Mega Man X, if directed by Michael Bay. Like, we got to do a live action Mega Man, so let's give him a suit that's really busy with all these bits and bobs on it. It was quite ugly. Not funny. My theater was laughing at every stupid thing. This is such a normie movie when it comes to comedy. It's embarrassing. There is a part where Pete Davidson is just going like, because it's set in the 90s, which I don't know why they had to move it up. It could have stayed in the 80s like Bumblebee, whatever. They jumped forward a couple of years.
I think it was because also Beast Wars took place, or that show was in the 90s.
It was in the 90s, but it took place in like prehistoric times.
Well, right, yeah. I think that was just like, we're going to do a nod to that.
Well, they do things like that where I guess the Maximals, they came after Optimus from when they were on Cybertron, but when they traveled back in time. So they make a reference to that in the movie. He goes like, we are the Maximals. We are your past and your future. And I'm sitting there not knowing what she's talking about. Like, do you want to explain that? Like, no, we're moving on. It's just a fun thing to say, and maybe we'll explore it later. Maybe not.
But we probably will.
Yeah.
So, let me, before you continue, I'm sorry. Yeah. Is Megatron, or at least the Megatron equivalent, is he a dinosaur?
No. No dinosaurs.
Because that was the whole thing. Like, Megatron in Beast Wars was a T-Rex.
Yeah. No.
He was the only one who wasn't. Oh, no, there was a raptor, too. Anyway, go ahead. Continue. Sorry.
The bad guy, besides
Unicron,
I was going to call Omnicron, is Scourge? Scourge or Scourge. And he's just a guy that works for Unicron. Do my bidding for me. His mask kind of looks like MF Doom.
Okay.
And then they rip it off and he's all like rusted and like as if he was like Dr. Doom, and you ripped his mask off and he's all fucked up underneath and he had to wear. He's nothing. He's fine. But all the designs of all the characters are pretty cool. I just don't like that mech suit, and I don't like suspender glasses guy. So Pete Davidson makes a joke about like they just do, hey, we're in the 90s, so let's talk about 90s things. And then there's a part where they pull up and he goes like, yeah, Wu-Tang's in the house. But you know what song was playing? A Notorious B.I.G. song. don't put that joke with that song, or get a Wu-Tang song to work for that. It seemed really out of place, but he makes a joke of, did you hear that Marky Mark is going to leave the Funky Bunch? I'm like, oh, isn't that funny? Mark Wahlberg's in 2 of these movies, and but it's a different continuity. Isn't that hilarious? No, because this movie's not funny.
Yeah, because they from the cast I saw, it's like you didn't hire comedians and you didn't hire big names.
Yeah, the 2 leads are nobodies.
Yeah. I mean, I saw Into the Heights. I like Anthony Ramos, but he's not like a Hollywood leading man yet.
Not yet, yeah. He's not a household name.
Yeah. It's just, this seems like the kind of thing like you would bring in at least one sort of veteran actor to be in. It's just like, sure, all new, young, fresh faces on the scene. It's like, great, like, I make new actors. Yeah. But it's just, when you're 7 movies in and none of them have been really reviewed all that well, except for kind of the first one, kind of Bumblebee.
Bumblebee is the highest rated one. Number 1 is like a 7.1 on IMDb, and then part 3 is like a 6 point something.
But everything else is lower than all of them are right.
Yes.
My point is, you would think that you would bring in one sort of big name, like adding Mark Wahlberg made sense. Did it make the movies good? Absolutely not. But I would think you would pull in somebody.
Yeah, I'm surprised What's-Her-Face didn't come back. That would have been interesting if she was in this movie, because it's the week after Spider-Verse. She's Gwen Stacy, and the person who plays Miles' mom in Spider-Verse, it plays Noah's mom in this. And that's kind of fun. She has like 2 movies where she's the mom of the lead character, and one of them is like, Harold is this amazing thing, and this is another fucking Transformers movie. Yep. But that's gotta be weird as an actor to be like, I got 2 huge movies coming out a week after each other. That's gotta be cool. It's gonna be a fun feeling. Last thing I'll say about Transformers, unless you have any more questions, they're finally trying to tie it into the G.I. Joe universe.
Really?
Yes. At the very end, his whole thing, Noah has been trying to get a job. His brother's sick. His dad's not in the picture. His mom's struggling. He just needs to get a job, but no one will give him a chance. So he does an interview with an actor that I don't know. But if you saw, you know exactly. You know this guy. And he, he's like, oh, well, heard about you and your friends down in Peru. And, like, we know all about you and the Autobots. And we want you to join our team. And he slides in his card. Guy gets up and like pulls a secret lever on the wall, and it opens to a hidden base with these cool planes in it. And like, yeah, welcome to the team, kid. And he flips over the card and it says G.I. Joe on it. So they've been trying to do it because they've been doing it in the comics for years now. That's kind of how G.I. Joe became as powerful as they did, because they had the Transformers technology and yada yada yada. And apparently those stories aren't the worst. And what do you do with 2 dying franchises? Let's try to mash them together. But I think we're at a point where nobody cares about cinematic universes anymore. We had one that did it really, really well. Everybody else couldn't do it, and we're over it.
Wow. I mean, yeah, this seemed like if this was a decade ago, it'd be like, oh, that's exciting. Yeah. Like, putting Kong and Godzilla together, great. That's something people have been asking for a long time. Yeah. That makes sense. Those are franchises that blend well. Yeah. G.I. Joe and Transformers, that's a franchise that blends well. In the 80s. Yep. On cartoon form. Yep. That's where you do it.
Or they should have done it when you had Channing Tatum and the Michael Bay stuff. They should have done that, like, Transformers 3, G.I. Joe 2, boom.
This seems like a last dying gasp. Yes. It's like, the Transformers aren't enough. We gotta get something else here.
And I don't know who's asking for more G.I. Joe. It's not relevant at
Snake
all.
Eyes made all that money.
I know. Yeah, it's a last dying gasp. We have these 2 franchises that, on paper, should be making us a ton of money, because they have lasted for 40 years now. We got to do something with it.
But like, G.I. Joe was, I mean, I don't know the toy market, but G.I. Joe was huge for its time, and yeah, it's carried over a little bit, but G.I. Joe toys aren't selling.
No, and they were shitty toys. They sucked. They were tiny, and their waist broke because they were just made with a rubber band, whereas the Transformers toys were cool as fuck. You did not need that cartoon show to sell you a Transformer. They were so intricate, and they were heavy and metal, like the original ones. Mm-hmm. Those were excellent toys, where G.I. Joe, those were fucking lame. Yeah. That you needed a show to sell those toys.
I mean, if you get, you know what, put Tom Cruise, do the crossover of Top Gun and Transformers. Now we're talking.
Okay.
Having Tom Cruise having to fight Starscream in his own personal jet, that'd be a cool fucking movie.
I think Ethan Hunt fits more of the universe than Top Gun Maverick.
Yeah, I'm not pitching that. I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm glad I didn't see this. I was about to see this today because I thought my wife wanted to see Guardians. So the fact that she was like, no, you can see whatever you want, I'm like, done, deal.
If you came to me saying you saw Transformers but not Guardians, I would have been very upset.
So, anyway, let's get to Guardians.
Let's do it. Well, the time is finally here. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, the 75th Marvel movie in Phase 17. I don't even know where we're at anymore. I'm going to say 32? 38, maybe?
Sure.
Okay. I don't even know where to start. Like, I think everything that has been said or needs to be said has been said by better, smarter, more articulate people. But it'll be nice to finally bounce things off of you.
Uh-huh.
So first off, as someone who has been over the Marvel Cinematic Universe for a while, but likes the Guardian movies more than most of them, wouldn't you say? How does 3 stack up to 1 and 2? And the rest of the Marvel Cinematic Universe?
So I'll say that of all the superhero trilogies, sagas, whatever you want to call them, because some have gone past the trilogy state. Guardians has always been my second favorite, only behind the Captain America ones. I'm a big Captain America defender. A lot of people don't love the first one, and the third one is arguably an Avengers film, not so much Captain America movie. But Winter Soldier, I always thought was the shit.
You could take away 1 and 2. You still have Winter Soldier. That's the best Marvel movie.
Pretty much, yes. So you could argue that Guardians is the best standalone trilogy.
Yeah, for sure.
And I would have no problem with that argument. 1 was a ton of fun, super rewatchable. I loved the first one. Second one didn't quite hit the highs of the first one, but still an enjoyable ride. It had a very charismatic villain, where the first one's villain was just, I'm a big, mean, angry guy.
Yeah, but it made sense because we had to establish the space stuff. We had to establish the Thanos stuff. It was fine to just have, I'm bad and I want the power.
Right. And then this one, I think, maybe doesn't hit all the highs of either one. Like, the villain isn't as fun as Ego. And it's not as funny as the first one, or maybe some of the music choices aren't as good, but I think it does everything really well across the board.
Yeah.
I actually pretty much really enjoyed this movie. I have notes, obviously, but it didn't make me hate Marvel, because I think it's just, it almost feels, it has all the Marvel trappings, but almost feels so out of place because they're removed from the human world, even though there's obviously tons of humans in it. But this is just a group of lovable misfits that I think, especially getting into the third one, all know how each other work and play off each other really well. And they all get teamed up together in different scenarios, and they all have their moments with each other, and it all feels right and earned. And maybe there's some jokes that aren't as funny as I think they're supposed to be, but they're not bad jokes. And I think the movie just works a little bit. I think what the movie does better than the other two is the emotional stuff. The first 2 movies, I mean, they've all been group movies, but the first 2 have pretty much been the Peter Quill show, where this movie is the Rocket show. And I think Bradley Cooper does a fantastic job in this movie.
Yeah.
I think acting across the board is really good, but Bradley Cooper delivers one hell of a voiceover performance, and I just want to give him kudos for that. So that's what I think. I think they all kind of line up pretty much on the same plane. I would probably go 1, 3, and then 2, but that just might be Guardians was something new at the time, and if you but I don't know. I think
1, 3, 2 is very fair.
Yeah, but it's just like A+, A minus, like that kind of thing. Not saying that they're perfect movies, but
they're so
close that they just blend really well together.
Yeah, I love this movie. I saw this movie like on a Friday, and then I saw it on a Sunday. I really liked it the first time, but I wasn't super jazzed on it. And I felt the same way with Volume 2. I didn't love Volume 2 at first, but on a rewatch, I'm like, okay, no, this is good. But I did like this one a lot more than 2 leaving the theater, and then I just fell in love with it after the second one. This is easily top 5 Marvel movies. Like Guardians 1 and Guardians 3 are definitely in my top 5, I'd say.
All right.
I think this works on pretty much every level, except for maybe Adam Warlock. I think he's the weakest part. Didn't necessarily need to be in it. He kind of felt like Venom in Spider-Man 3. He was kind of forced into it. He teased it, but didn't necessarily like have it. Like, he didn't need to capitalize on that tease. They could have ignored it and just saved it for any other time. And it could have been something years down the road. So we didn't need it, but I really liked Will Poulter as this character. But do we need another big dumb guy? He's kind of like Quill's dumb and Rocket to an extent. Even though Rocket's a genius, he still has some dumb guy tendencies.
Yeah, Drax, Drax
is
a dumb guy.
Is the big dumb guy. Groot can be a big dumb guy. You know, Mantis is a dumb guy. So then now we have another dumb guy. But I liked his kind of royal dumbness. You know, like, he has that little dog thing. He's like, I'm gonna teach him the way I'm gonna teach him the way of the sovereign. And he just felt like that entitled, born into royalty sort of dumbness instead of being dumb from just the School of Hard Knocks.
Spoiled rich kid.
Yeah. But I thought he was really good. I liked it. I have a huge list of notes. I don't think we need to go through the story beats like we normally do with these types of movies.
Sure.
Since it's been out for so long. Let's just talk about the things we like, the things we don't like.
Well, I want to hop, I mean, you said pretty much one of my notes of like things I didn't care for. The big one was Adam Warlock. And you pretty much said everything I was going to say. It just seems like, he was tacked on because they teased it. I didn't care about his character so much. Mainly because he just, like you said, he's just another big dumb guy. There was all this talk. It's like he's the perfect being, but they explain, oh, well, he's like this because you pulled him out early, which, sure. But, and I'm not an Adam Warlock purist. I don't know that much about him.
Yeah.
I've watched the not TikTok, but the YouTube short videos where it's like, so you want to know about Adam Warlock?
Yeah.
And my only real experience with him is playing the Guardians of the Galaxy video game, which I fucking love that game.
Yeah.
So it just seems...
Didn't he have a rhyming way of speaking?
Yeah. It was pretty fun. But he's this essential god character, and it's just like, you already had Thor, Love and Thunder with this big Greek golden god, blonde-haired dude.
Greek.
Sorry. You know what I mean.
Norse.
Yeah. It's just like, here's the new Thor if Chris Hemsworth doesn't come back. I didn't like how Thor left.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think you could have cut Adam Warlock out of this movie completely and you wouldn't lost a goddamn thing.
Yeah.
It also seems like, just to jump to the very end of the movie, he's just there to save Peter at the end. Yeah. That's his whole purpose.
And you can solve that by, I don't know, giving Peter the things he always has, his rocket boots and fucking helmet.
Yeah. I can't believe he didn't have one single shot of him with a helmet on.
Yeah. And the second one, they even have like portable bubble suits and jetpacks. They don't have it in this. It's like they purposely wrote them out because they needed him to almost die and they needed something for Adam Warlock to do.
Yeah, and we'll get to that later. But yeah, I didn't like Adam Warlock at all in this movie.
Yeah.
My other note was, and it's a problem across all the Marvel movies, or most of them, it's a little long.
It is.
There's some points where I was checking my watch because, like, oh god, there's still an hour of this left.
But I think it moves the whole time.
I was never bored. It's just, I think it just seemed like a series of fetch quests that never work out until we get to the big final battle where everything works out.
Sure.
And I think if you eliminate the Adam Warlock stuff, you could have saved 20 minutes.
No. And 7 minutes.
Okay. Well, either way, it saved those 7 minutes. They were essential. I get rid of them. So Not the biggest deal, but it was a little long. But that's just movies in general nowadays. Good. Let's get into your notes.
Okay. First thing I want to talk to our big bad, the High Evolutionary.
Mm-hmm.
A really good villain because we've gotten to a point with Marvel villains where you understand them. We understood Killmonger, Vulture, Thanos. We can relate in some way. Yes, what they're doing is really bad, but we get why they're doing it. It's not just like hungry for power. So I like that we've gone back to we don't try to humanize this person at all. He's just an absolute piece of shit, horrible, awful person that you don't like at all, not even the slightest. So I like how despicable he is.
Well, I think there is pretty much no way to humanize a man who tortures animals. It's like you could have him doing experiments on humans or aliens or whatever, and it'd be like, yeah, his experiments are wrong, but it makes sense. He's making the perfect society.
Yeah,
that's a good goal to have. It's like, oh, he's torturing little baby raccoons.
Yeah, fuck yeah. Did you put robot legs on a bunny?
Yeah.
You're a piece of shit. Did you turn that walrus into a wheelchair?
I think it was smart to just go like, oh no, he's the worst person from the get-go.
But he's a moron. Like, he's supposed to be this really smart person, but he's very stupid. And he does three things. So he blows up the Earth 2, whatever it was called. Counter Earth. He blows it up because he doesn't need it anymore. Now that he has Rocket back, he can finally, do what he wants to do to a better degree. But he doesn't even have Rocket yet. He just knows Rocket's on planet, and he starts taking off in the ship and destroying this whole world before he's even secured Rocket.
The argument would be he's not dumb. He's just... his ego he's so confident in his abilities that he's making dumb choices.
That's fine. He wants Rocket's brain, but he openly mocks him and despises him to his face. Like, he's so cruel. You want to learn from this thing? You want to take this thing's brain? Just pretend to be nice and let him have some false sense of like a fatherly son a relationship, but he's just openly mean and cruel. Like, you're asking for your face to get chewed off.
Well, when you're superior, you don't have to answer to lesser beings.
Okay.
Once again, that's just his belief in his own hubris.
Okay, he wants to create the perfect being. He has the gold people. Hey, you're going to make this Adam Warlock character, he's going to be my perfect person, but I'm going to pull him out of the oven early so he's not fully developed? He didn't need to do that.
Well, I think they justified it. It's like, you all are failing me in retrieving Rocket, and I think once he knew Rocket was alive, it's like, fuck it, get Adam Warlock out.
There was no time clock, no ticking time clock on getting Rocket. Or send other...
But then the movie couldn't happen.
Send your pig monster thing, voiced by Judy Greer.
Yeah, when I saw that online, I was like, oh, she was War Pig?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It just seemed like he's this genius, but he just makes these really dumb decisions that if he would have, played it a little cooler, he probably could have gotten all of his goals.
Yeah, if he was more... And they have kind of similar names, and I'm going to butcher this name, but Chiwetel Ejiofor or whatever... His villain from Serenity, the Firefly villain, was like, I know I can't live in the world I'm going to create. If he was like that kind of guy, then that would kind of make more sense. It's like, I know I'm not the perfect being. I'm not going to be the smartest one. I'm not going to be the strongest one. But I'm going to be the one who makes the perfect society. And then once that is complete, then I'll fucking kill myself or destroy the rest of the universe or whatever. Like, that would make kind of sense. But it just always seemed like, oh no, I'm as perfect as it gets. I'm just going to make things that are slightly better or whatever. Or like, I'll make the best, but then rule over it. I don't really know.
Yeah, because they treat him as like a god on Counter Earth. Like, he has his ship and he has a statue of himself. Like, people look to him as their creator.
Yeah.
So let me ask you, why don't the animal people on that planet, why don't they speak English? Rocket and Walrus, or was it Teefs, Floor, and... What's the otter's name?
Fuck.
Lila?
Lila. Yeah.
Lila. They all speak English. They were all animals that don't know English generally. They were taught that, or at least learned it through him. And if he's the god of this planet, why don't they also speak English?
So I don't think he speaks to these creatures.
Okay.
And these creatures, so we know that
the guard dropped him in evolution.
Well, he evolved all of them because you said he takes the animals and puts them in the machine and then makes them humanoid or whatever. And he built their world, but he's not going to like interact with these lesser beings.
But they have statues of him. Did he put statues of himself up?
Of course he did.
Okay, so if he's willing to show himself as I am your creator, I figured he would.
I think he can talk to them, but the Guardians, you know that they have communicators like in their...
Yeah, the universal translators, but they couldn't understand them. They had
because that language hasn't existed before.
But since he evolves these animals from like nothing to, full evolved to fully evolved creatures, I would think there wouldn't be enough time for them to build their own new language. This planet hasn't been going for millions of years because of him. It seems like it's a relatively new thing. They didn't start all the way from cave-dwelling creatures and now they're in suburbia.
Yeah, it's been, 30 years or whatever.
But I just feel like if there was going to be any language that they had, it would have just been English because that's what the High Evolutionary speaks.
But the High Evolutionary probably doesn't speak English. It's just we hear English because that's what it's the same thing with Groot at the end, when he says "I love you." That's not Groot. He didn't learn English.
Yeah,
it's just you're hearing what the Guardians can.
That took me by surprise at first. I was like, Jesus Christ, they're making him talk now. Because even in the first one, he says, "We are Groot." He shouldn't be allowed to say that. He can only say those three things. So when I heard him say, "I love you guys," I was like, God damn it, that's stupid. But it makes more sense now since James Gunn has even come out and said, no. That's us kind of being like Gamora, finally understanding him. And that's perfectly fine. But since we're talking about Groot, we get our first fuck in a Marvel movie.
Wasted.
No. Fantastic use. It's a simple fuck. It's just get in the fucking car. It's not this big grandiose, look at me, I'm saying fuck. It's just a fun little joke. Absolutely great. But Groot has said fuck in Guardians 2. Rocket says to Yondu, like, oh, he said, welcome to the frickin' Guardians of the Galaxy. And he didn't say frickin'. Yeah. So we've already had that before.
I mean, we've also had Samuel Jackson almost drop it and thing.
Sure.
Obviously cuts away.
And I guess there's a thing in Moon Knight, someone curses in the background, and it's like more of an audio thing that maybe the volume's up a little too high and it could have been a little lower, but this is the first, like, real, true, official fuck. But I'm not done with this language thing. Give me 1 second.
Okay.
So we have they land on this planet on Counter Earth. They don't know how to talk. They're trying to use charades to try to talk to these people. What the fuck are you doing, Mantis? Talk to them through your brain. Make them understand you with your powers. You can do this. And it's the same when they are on the ship and there's all these little kids and they don't know how to talk to them. Use your powers, Mantis. You have that ability. You can read people's minds and make them understand you, even if it is just an emotional thing. What?
I don't know.
She talks to Cosmo. She talked to the big mouth monster things. She's able to communicate with them. Why can't she communicate with this rabbit person and these little kids?
Communicate with those big monster things? Or was just like, we haven't understand. I can understand you're not going to hurt me if I'm not going to try and hurt you.
I think she was
I don't have enough understanding of her powers to argue against you. So, sure.
Yeah. Okay, I'm off it now. Okay, so I'm just going to start going down my list. This is like the third or fourth time that they've had someone freeze in space.
Mm-hmm. Dumb.
It's like the first one was nice with Gamora. He saves Gamora. Second one, we have all of Yondu's people getting killed. This time, Peter Quill actually looks like he's
Yondu
about to die.
Freeze.
And then Yondu does freeze. And like even his face fucking distorts. Like I thought they were actually going to kill him because he's the biggest star of them. There's no reason for him to come back. His contract's up. And James Gunn even said, we're going to kill one of the Guardians. So everyone said, it's Drax. Because he was so vocal about not wanting to come back ever again. He's done. Okay, they're going to kill Drax. But it was just a big fake out. Nobody fucking died. No one on the team died. They all survived. So, and not knowing that at that point, I really thought they were going to kill Peter Quill and be like, look, the Guardians are dead. And if any other iteration of it is going to be some completely different. And he doesn't die. And it's okay. They didn't have to kill him. I'll be happy. I'm sure he'll be back for Secret Wars or something.
Sure.
But, yeah, what the fuck, Mr. Gunn? Was that a purpose fake out? Or did you change your mind on something? Or was it too obvious that you said that and everybody guessed it and it wouldn't be as impactful, so he changed his mind? I haven't heard.
Yeah, it's weird when the Marvel Universe, everyone is never surprised in the sense of it's like, oh, it's the Marvel Universe. No one really stays dead unless you're Quicksilver or now Black Widow, I guess. And so it's like, oh, well, of course they're not going to die. But then it's at the same time, it's like, well, that's what they expect. So they're not going to do that. So they're definitely going to kill somebody.
Mm-hmm.
But now they think that we're going to expect that they're going to kill somebody. So
it's
they're
the
not going to
reverse double negative.
It's like, so you're never surprised because you're always going to be right.
Yeah. I'm not going to kill someone. Well, I'm not going to kill someone. I'm not going to
So it's like,
someone.
Oh, well, if we kill them, though, then we can't sell more toys of them, / then we can't...
Special bloated face Peter Quill freezing
and we're losing opportunities, so we'll just write everybody off. It's like, we're never going to work with Scarlett Johansson again. Fuck her. She's dead. Quicksilver, no one cared about it. It was just there for the one movie. Fuck him. He's dead. And then we'll just keep everybody else.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just... I don't dislike the ending because I think it works. Everyone gets their happy ending. It fits the characters.
Yeah.
It's all earned. And it was, and you even have some stuff that's like kind of unexpected in the sense in any other movie, Gamora would have got, I know she is a different Gamora, but it's like, if he would have got her memory back, or she would have fell in love with the team, it's like, fine, I'll leave the Ravagers.
She would have given him a kiss, or, at least.
Yeah, it's like, oh, there's a hint that they'll get together, but it's like, nope, no, she's just doing her own fucking
thing. I'm going back to my family.
Yeah.
I bet we could have been good, but that's not what I'm after.
Yeah.
Peace.
So, I respect it in that regards, where, at least Gamora stayed Gamora.
Yeah. And so we have people freezing in space again. We also have ships crashing through buildings and to smash into people. Every single movie they've had, some ship flying through some other sort of building and running into someone. This time it was, I believe, Groot was driving, and I think Mantis did it once as well. I can't quite remember, but it's just a reoccurring thing. Dying in space and crashing your ship. Which I like his new ship. This ship was really cool looking. It's not as sexy as the Milano, but it's still very cool.
Interesting design.
Yeah. Gamora and Nebula, I think they would be more gung-ho to stop the High Evolutionary. He's doing all the things that Thanos did to them. And Nebula does make one mention, but I feel like they would be maybe a little more emboldened to do this. And it just doesn't seem like it's touched on. It
seems like much. Nebula's always... I could be wrong. From the get-go, she was like, yeah, let's do this. I understand Gamora not doing it so much because it's just kind of like, well, I'm a Ravager now. I don't concern myself with other people's problems. I care about myself. But she still
came from Thanos. It's like, look what he's doing to all these people. And look at all these children that he's fucking with. I could see her going, okay, this isn't normally what I do, but I kind of have to speak up for them.
Sure.
I do like, speaking of Nebula, she's the one that's had like the best character arc. Because, after these, I watched 1 and 2 and Christmas special all over again. And seeing her in part 1 is so different from now. Like, she cries in this movie. When they bring Rocket back, she cries. Who would have ever thought this character? And she's the one that wants to stay behind, lead the people, be the mother and protector of Nowhere with Drax. I hope they start hooking up. But but yeah, for everybody, you could say some people are in the same place and they're just kinder, or they know how to work in a team. She had the biggest growth out of all of them. Mm-hmm. So, congratulations to her. I like Cosmo. I wonder if people were really confused who didn't watch the Christmas special. Like, who is this Cosmo person? Why do they have Nowhere? Mantis is Peter's sister? What is this? And it's all it's so quick and it doesn't matter. And they do enough to set it up and it doesn't really change anything. But I like Cosmo. I like Maria Bakalova as the voice of Cosmo. I think the good dog, bad dog joke gets maybe a little old towards the end, but I think it's a good joke. And you know exactly how it's going to pay off, but it's a cute joke.
Yeah, part of me is, I appreciate that you gave Kraglin and Cosmo something to do because they are part of the Guardians, even though they're not like the core group.
Hey, Kraglin's been there from
the first one. So it's nice. Cosmo got her hero moment, like holding the ships together and getting the character arc of like, I'm not really character arc, but it's like, say I'm a good dog, damn it. And Kraglin, his little thing of, can I use this arrow? And it's just that part. It's like it's nice that Kraglin got to have a little bit of character moment, but just the looking off in the distance and seeing Yondu is like, hey kid, follow your heart. That's how you operate the arrow thing. I was like, ugh, eye roll. It was fine.
That's what he told Peter in the second one. I don't use my head to control the arrow. I use my heart.
Yeah,
it totally works.
I'm not saying it doesn't. It's just the power of your heart is truly what it works. Makes it work. It's just like a little.
The only thing stronger than gravity is love. You know, it's one of those things. It did feel like they needed to give him something to do. So like, release the mindless, weird monster robot things into the ship just so he could use the arrow to kill him.
Yeah.
This movie is really gross. It's really slimy and icky and disgusting. We have the Orgocorp planet thing as a big pustule. It's just this grown lab.
This seemed like a Rick and Morty thing.
It really did.
The whole sequence was just a big Rick and Morty thing.
It was disgusting. Everybody's like, their military suits just look like you turned an obese person inside out and wore their flesh. There's like a piss fountain in the background. Everybody puts their hands in fucking snot globules to control it. It's really gross.
Yeah, their suits reminded me of, those microscopic whale things that are not whale, manatees.
No, the bears, the water bears.
The water bears, yeah, that's what they reminded me of.
Yeah. I think that's exactly what they're based off of. Get Nathan Fillion back again. Love Nathan Fillion, always good. But I feel bad for the guy who's making fun of, like, I got the boss's nephew. Got a real piece of shit there. Like, God, come on, shut up.
Yeah.
But I think this is one of the best looking Marvel movies. I think the special effects are great. All the planets and everything we see is very unique. Nothing is cheap. This movie had more like prosthetics applied than any movie before. It holds the records for most prosthetics in movies and most makeup artists working on a set at one time. Because it all looks so fucking cool.
Yeah, I think in the beginning I think there was some special effects I didn't love, like especially the Adam Warlock stuff. I thought it looked bad, but that was only the first 10 minutes. By that point, everything after that, I was like, okay, I agree. It pretty much blended seamlessly because I was thinking that there's been so many complaints about Marvel special effects recently, where like I don't really have that problem in this movie. I kind of saw it in the beginning, but then as the movie went on, I was like, oh no, this movie is great, especially all the animal stuff.
Yeah. Animal stuff is so sad. I really love that group. Like, I want to hug that otter. I want to hold its little robot hand. I feel so bad for the spider rabbit. It looks so painful.
Yeah, it was just like, what if Sid from Toy Story?
Yes! That's exactly what I
became the High Evolutionary.
Yeah. That's exactly what I thought. It's really horrifying. And the fact that they just get shot, I thought the High Evolutionary was going to like tease them like, oh, we're ready for you now on the planet. Let's get you into this tube. And Rocket would have to watch his friends get incinerated. I don't know what would be
not so
more
much incinerated, but they like, oh, we're going to take you guys for, the next thingamajig where you can see the new world. I'm like, we're going to New World, Rocket. And then Rocket sees them later and they're just like hanging up on the wall. Dissected or
all
something.
Cut open.
Yeah. It's been a real horror show.
But speaking of horror shows, he really ripped his fucking face off when, like, I thought it was a makeup error when you saw, like, his face kind of dangling off, and when Gamora pulls it off, I thought, like, maybe something came loose and they just gotta use it. I didn't expect him to actually have, like, a rubber face on because Rocket took his face away.
Yeah.
And that was gross.
Yeah,
like,
it was like a Two-Face in
yeah.
a Nolan film.
Yeah, it was really graphic for a quote unquote kids Marvel movie. Like these are, whether they have violence or adult themes, they're relatively safe for most kids. That was pretty horrifying.
Yeah, James Gunn, I think, realized this was his last one with the company, and it's just like, you know, he comes from sort of a horror route, and I think all of his skills were on display in terms of action, comedy, uh, horror stuff. He had just kind of really covered all of his bases. This was, I don't want to say it was his magnum opus, 'cause we don't know, you know, what he's got down the pipeline, but I think The Guardians so far is his greatest work for sure.
For sure.
And he really got, you know, this is his Lord of the Rings. It's just.
I'd say this is his Star Wars.
Well, I'm just saying it's like, here's a guy who was a relatively unknown who came from sort of a horror satire background, and it's like, oh look, I made this huge trilogy franchise that really showed off all my talents.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But speaking of gross, do you remember the part where they're freeing all the prisoners and Mantis releases the gross prisoner and he's like this weird rabbit thing? He's just like, oh, thanks, miss. And he's like, oh, I wasn't looking at you.
You're so cool looking.
Do you know who does the voice of that?
No.
Pete Davidson. So he's in that.
Okay.
He's in Guardians. He's in Transformers. He's in Fast X. Like, this guy is in all the blockbusters. Like, if you would have told me he was the Spot in Spider-Verse, I would have been like, yep, that makes sense as well. Yeah, this guy's just doing anything, and I don't blame him. He's living the life I think normies like us dream of, being this kind of weirdo, ugly dude who gets all the chicks, super funny, and gets to be in a ton of movies and just show up and be himself. He's living the dream. Good for you, Pete Davidson.
I mean, I wouldn't say he's ugly, but he's
unconventionally attractive. Yeah. He's attractive because he has the money and the comedy, and he has the level of fame where even if he is wearing a stupid fucking outfit, people go, that Pete Davidson's so cool. Look how quirky his overalls are.
I want to say Mantis was probably my favorite.
I love Mantis so
in this movie. I thought she was really good because I thought in 2, you know, she had some funny bits because she was, you know, the weirdo of the group because she was the outsider, and I think she just fit the group really well and had some really good, not only comedy moments but emotional moments. And I don't know, I think she was my favorite character in this. Yeah, her and Nebula. I mean, Rocket has the good emotional stuff, but I think Nebula and Mantis, for me, really kind of blew everyone out of the water. Because I mean, maybe it's just like I've seen the other 5 more. It's like I've seen them do their shit. Where
and Gamora's a regression of that character. You know, Mantis is my favorite, which is weird because like I think as Mantis, smoking hot, love that bug lady. As Palm Clementif, he's all right. I think the all black eyes antenna really tie it all together.
She talks like a girl I work with.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they talk exactly the same.
That's awesome. Is it the annoying one that...
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, the music in this one, I don't think is as good.
Oh, yeah, I agree.
I think there's good songs. You hear the songs, that's excellent. I love that song. But as a collection, compared to 1 and 2, it just doesn't stand out. And if you ask me now, the only thing I can remember is Creep.
I was just going to say, I think the only 2 instances that work are Creep at the beginning, I think is a good intro, and it works, but it also feels like I've heard this song in so many other movies before, is the Beastie Boys.
Sabotage. Yeah, because we heard it just in Mario a couple weeks earlier. Another Chris Pratt movie. They used Sabotage in both those movies.
And was it Sabotage? It was
No, it wasn't Sabotage. It was it's No Sleep Till Brooklyn.
Yeah, No Sleep Till Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Sabotage isn't in this one. That's in Star Trek.
Star Trek. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's like, I feel like we're mixing
You're going to mix them up,
yeah.
No Sleep Till Brooklyn.
But
it's used well.
It's used well, but it's just like I've heard the song so many times. But I also heard Creep, but it's been a while since I've heard Creep. Yeah. Anyway, everything else is like, the song choices aren't bad, like you said, but it just, they come on in whatever sequence. I'm like, this is fine.
Yeah. It works, but it's not his strongest. It feels like he had a list of 60 songs, from writing the first one. Took all the best ones for 1 and all the next best ones for 2, and then this is what he was left with. This has got to be my soundtrack. I'll make it work. But the No Sleep Till Brooklyn part is a great oneer. Everybody gets a little chance to shine, gets to kill crazy
best
monsters.
Action sequence in the movie.
Yes, probably best hallway fight scene since Daredevil.
Damn it, Ben, stop taking everything I was going to say. I was just like, we haven't had a hallway fight since like Daredevil season 3. Oh, man.
Sorry.
Yeah. So,
but the music is just like, it's good. It's better than a lot of soundtracks that don't even stick in my brain. This one, it's hard not to think about it because it's such a big part of the other movies.
Right.
Drax is good. I didn't love the whole, like, oh, you didn't ask me if I spoke their language. Of course I do. It's a cheap joke.
Yeah.
I didn't like that, especially with Mantis being able to talk to people through her brain. But I think his makeup gets worse in every movie. When I went back to rewatch, he does get more covered up in later movies, so they don't have to do the full body,
sure.
And he's shirtless the whole time in the first one. But I think even with his face, it just looks a little nicer and more realistic. I think it doesn't look amazing in this, but it could be he's a lot leaner in that first movie. He's huge, but he's a skinnier dude, and now he's a bigger guy. He's not as cut, and his head has gotten much larger.
Yeah.
And so it could just be, the disgusting body of Dave Bautista that is clouding my vision, but I'll blame it on the makeup. Sure. But come on, Dave. Like, have you ever worked out? You look disgusting. So I miss regular Groot. Going back to that first movie, that's such a great design, and I love Big Normal Groot. I never loved Baby Groot, especially when it was running around. When it was still in the pot, it's a cute little thing. Mm-hmm. When he's running around in 2, don't like it. Teenage Groot's fine, but I feel like because we only see that in Infinity War, we don't get to spend enough time with it. I think Teenage Groot in a Guardians movie would have been really, really fun. So then now we're at this like young adult Groot who's just really big and bulky, and he's really wide. And, I mean, we get kind of King Groot at the very end.
Yeah.
And that was a good design. I love that original Groot design. And he also can grow really, really fast in this. Before, it took him a while to grow back from a stick. He goes into kaiju mode on the planet, like, really fast. He gets his head ripped off, and tentacles grow out of it.
Head with tentacles is my nightmare fuel. No matter how cute it is, it's horrifying. Yeah, I agree. I think Groot looks so cool in the first one, and then I think the problem is Baby Groot was such a hit that they were like, we have to keep Baby Groot's face as he grows, where the original Groot had a more, I don't even know what word I'm looking for, just more defined face. That It just seemed like it had more character. Yeah. Where it's just like, no matter what size Groot is now, whether he's Baby Groot or King Groot at the very end, he's still got that very smooth, childlike face.
It almost feels like they wanted to make him more regular human size because they wanted to try a Groot bodysuit and film it in camera. And so they're like, well, we got to make him smaller, but we'll make him wider so we could put this suit on, filmed everything, looked back and went, ooh, this kind of looks like shit. So let's cover him up with CG. We tried. It didn't quite work. Right. I just wish they would have gone kind of that classic look. But hey, we get all types of variety of Groot now. So
selling toys, man. Selling toys.
Their suits. I love their uniforms. Their actual, when everybody has the same thing, everyone looks so fucking cool. I love Rocket's little uniform. I don't know. Everyone looks cool. I just wish they gave Groot something. He needs a sash, a belt. He doesn't wear anything, and it makes sense. He's a tree, but he can't have like a little insignia, something. Like he should have a Chewbacca bandolier sort of thing where he can pull things out. He just looks weird next to everybody in their cool new suits.
Just this naked dude.
Yeah. Let's see.
Stallone is in this movie?
Sure. Just like last time. Yep. Like everybody returned from, except for
Michelle Yeoh.
No, Michelle Yeoh came back. What's his name? Lex Luthor from Smallville.
Michael Rosenbaum.
Michael Rosenbaum.
Michelle Yeoh was in the background in this movie?
Did she not show?
I don't remember seeing it.
Okay, maybe she didn't show up. It was her and Michael Clark Duncan. He was in 2. No,
Michael
the
Clark
other
Duncan
one.
was
What's the other one?
the other one.
Yeah.
What do you mean the other?
The other big black actor that everybody confuses, like I do. Michael Clark.
Ving
Rhames. Ving Rhames was one of the other ship captains in 2. So yeah, he didn't come back. Miley.
Cut the other one.
If you go to anybody and you say not Ving Rhames, the other one, they know exactly what you're talking about. You knew what I was talking about.
Yeah,
they are connected by being large black men, bald actors. They're just like they probably went out for every role the other one got. So yeah, they didn't come back. Miley Cyrus didn't come back to be the voice of the little robot head, but
I forgot she was. Okay.
Yeah, you don't know shit about.
I don't. I also didn't rewatch 1 and 2 recently.
That's true, but yeah, whatever. Yeah, Stallone's back and.
He's there.
Yep. Is that red dragon guy? Do you think he's a sorcerer? Because he's doing all the same things as Doctor Strange.
Thing. It's like, yeah, Guardians has been the sci-fi thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I wouldn't see why wizards, or at least magic, would have to adhere to one singular planet of ours.
Sure.
It's like, so either the wizards branched out to other planets, or it's just like magic exists in other worlds and this creature discovered it. I like that little detail. I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
It's like, it'd be fun to have, oh yeah, here's a bunch of sci-fi shit. It's like, of course we can, oh, how are we going to get through this? Oh, good thing I have this technology that allows me to do this thing that doesn't exist. It's like, sometimes, fuck it. We have magic now.
Yeah.
That could be fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Did you have anything else to say about Sylvester Stallone? You just said, he's back.
I was just being...
just leading the conversation?
No, I was just being snarky. Just like, yeah, here's this big star that's in this, but doesn't do anything. That wasn't a comment on, like, cool to see. And it's just like, yeah, he's here.
He's here. Did you see the trailer for Expendables 4?
I saw that there was a trailer, and I rolled my eyes. And
it's kind of embarrassing looking. It's not cool. There doesn't seem to be any really interesting action stuff. There's one on like a tanker ship, and they drop the anchor, and the whole thing's tipping, but it looks real cheap. It seems like they had such big casts in the like first 3. Mm-hmm. You had your Bruce Willis's and your Arnold Schwarzeneggers and your Mel Gibsons, and this is, well, we got whoever we could to come back, and it starts with Megan Fox and Jason Statham, and I thought it was a father-daughter thing, like she was his kid, but they're actually in a relationship. So it was this really weird whiplash for me that they're fighting, and I thought it was a play fighting of, I'm training my daughter to be the best just like me, and then they start like getting down and like, oh god, gross. Yeah, all the Expendable movies suck, and this one just
I only saw the first one,
just as bad.
Don't remember it. I was gonna say something about where are you happy with where everyone ends up in terms of, it's like Drax is the dad to a bunch of Chup kids. That's just what they say.
Yeah.
Chup.
Yep. He's dad. Nebula's mom. Nebula's trying to like start a new society.
I don't think Nebula's going to do anything with those kids really, but she's just going to lead.
But she's going to lead.
She's going to be the mayor of nowhere.
Yeah.
Gamora's back with her people. The Peter going home to Earth I liked, but just like I'm going to go see my grandpa. It's like, yeah, that was the grandpa from the first movie, but it just feels like, why do I give a shit that much?
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense, but...
I'm glad he did it, because he was on Earth for Endgame, and they don't do anything. He's more concerned about, there's a new Gamora, and not, I haven't been here since I was a kid. Maybe I spend some time here. I just felt like they would touch on it.
And I know I'm backtracking. I think Counter-Earth was stupid as fuck. I did not like that. Yeah. He's just like, oh yeah, I went to your planet, and it's just, I really enjoyed their love of arts and blah, 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 blah. Except for all the racism and ignorance and stuff. So I made a close replica of
it's like
Earth in the 80s.
50s and 80s.
Yeah,
it's like kind of Leave It to Beaver, kind of Brady Bunch.
It just seemed dumb. I didn't care for it. And whatever, it was fine. But anyway, Rocket being the new leader of the Guardians
makes sense.
And weird team. I mean, it makes sense that Kraglin's there.
Yeah,
It makes sense
Groot's
that
still there.
Adam Warlock joined the team. He needs his mom's dead now. He
Yeah.
needs a new home. It's like, what does that little girl bring to the table? I know she's
Yeah.
the perfect being minus whatever, minus Rocket's brain.
Sure.
But it's like, is she super strong? Is she
I think
a
she's
genius?
one of those I fly and shoot energy blast type people. I'm not
That's what Warlock does.
Exactly, but I think she is a character in the comics.
Oh, okay.
And so they were just like, well, here's another person we can introduce.
Oh, okay. I just thought I didn't realize she was from the comics.
She is a pre-existing person.
Okay, okay. And wasn't there another person on the team? Was there a sixth one? Was that?
No, I think it's
okay.
just a 5. Weird thing about that, Rocket has fought a bit against his past with this man who's tortured animals his whole life, and then their first mission as the new Guardians is kill all these animals.
Thank you.
I mean, why couldn't they just be like the owls in Love and Thunder at the beginning that the Guardians are fighting?
Yeah,
they're like weird animal human monster people, but these were like ostriches or something. Like they're just killing ostriches that are gonna
they're like giant meerkats or something. Yeah, I thought that was weird too, and that's the thing I wanted to talk about was there's two kind of things that didn't quite make sense to me. One was that, and the fact is like, oh, Rocket saved all the animals, he cares about animals, and then immediately mass murders a bunch of animals at the very end. And I get that they're the Guardians of the Galaxy, these people are innocent, who are just trying to live their lives, and then these things are just quote-unquote monsters who are, assumingly eating these humanoid people.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, well, they're the bad guys in the situation, so I have no problem killing them. Not all human, or not all non-animals are good or bad, not all animals are good or bad, whatever.
Yeah.
It was just kind of weird that that's where they ended up. You think it would be another sort of, or you put fucking orcs there.
Yeah, something.
That would make sense.
Or machines. It's a rogue robot army.
Oh, look, last remnants of the Chitauri. It's like
something.
Yeah. Weird that he mass murders a bunch of animals.
Yeah.
The other thing is, so we get to the end and the Guardians break up, more or less.
Mm-hmm.
And the Guardians movie has always been about sort of this found family. Like, you can be from any place and you can have weird quirks and be a bunch of misfits, and you can all still work together and love each other. And that's always been sort of the crux of the movies. And then you have this movie where Rocket is with people who's like, oh, isn't it so great to have friends? And it's all cute and adorable. And his friends get murdered. And then he's a sad boy. And then he finds a new group of friends and, falls in love again. And then it's like, as soon as they get back together, it's like, all right, peace, I'm out of here.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand it's like, well, that's kind of family. It's like you love each other. It doesn't matter how far away you go, and you want if you want your family to succeed. So if that means leaving to follow your dream or go down this path that you can't go on, that's part of it. But I wish that there was kind of like some build up to that, where the idea of leaving was something that they were all kind of wrestling with from the get-go, versus, oh, we finished the mission, now we're all just going to go. And it's never really explored. Like, it's hinted at with Peter, like with his grandpa stuff. But I don't know, I just kind of, when they leave, I want it to be sadder. Like, the saddest moment of the whole movie is Rocket crying at Lila's death, and probably Peter crying over Rocket, thinking that he's dead.
Yeah.
Like, those moments really work. I just wish, like, them saying goodbye to each other was, like, really heartbreaking. And I know it's like, well, it's not heartbreaking because it's happy that they're all people, but it still should have been sad, and it just wasn't sad for me. So I just wish this family had a more, I don't know. You cry when they leave, but then when they had the dance off at the end, you go like, okay, this is happy, and that's how you end it.
Oh, yeah, that's the other song I remember, is the Florence and the Machine song at the very end.
Yeah. That one was fine. That wouldn't have been my choice.
Oh, I really liked it. I thought it was good.
Like, once again, they all work. It's just not what it's not a choice I loved. But yeah, them all dancing and Rocket dancing and Nebula's like smiling.
It's like the end of a Shrek movie or a Trolls movie or any of the DreamWorks where, like, how do we end this thing? I don't know, pop song and a dance?
Yeah. Anything else in this movie?
The only thing I have left on it was just, I should have mentioned it earlier, was they show up to Orgo Corp and they're floating in like envision of it, and all the Ravagers are there, and then they float down to the surface. Do they not have cameras or sensors noticing that there's a fuck ton of Ravager ships right outside the thing, or this unidentified Guardian ship? They don't give a shit. That's just a dumb nitpick. That's nothing.
Yeah, well, that's always the problem I have when you have these sci-fi movies. Like, we need these civilizations to have super advanced things, but also not so advanced that we can't
Yeah.
we have to do a whole bunch of rigmarole to write around it.
Sure.
It's like, it's the most hardest top guarded place in the entire galaxy. There's guards everywhere, but it's like, but they don't believe in security cameras or something. Like,
or there's no sensors of, you cut into the flesh of our planet.
Well, then, like, their alarm did go off, and I know there was the James Gunn's wife like looking at cameras.
Yeah,
but it's like, this thing is the size of a fucking, the Death Star. Not the Death Star, but
it's like a moon, maybe.
It's a very large place, but there's only like 12 cameras or something that she can like look at. I don't know. It's movie stuff. It really doesn't matter. But it always just seems like when it comes to these sci-fi things, like it happens in Star Wars all the time. Where it's like, this stuff is so advanced in place of our world, but they still are missing technology that we have. It's like, because the world is so vast, or like no one would dare to rob us, that we're just not going to have security codes or something like that. It's like,
in 2, after they crash the Milano, like Rocket just uses a hose to like spray paint the ship back together.
Right, yeah.
It's like this technology that's so advanced. It's like blueprints that are built into this nanotechnology.
It's a 3D printer.
Yeah. You would think to get to that point in technology, so many other things would have advanced as well. But but like in Star Wars, it is, we got really good with this one thing. We didn't apply to anything else. This technology advanced for this technology and that alone. And then the other things are still kind of decades behind.
Yeah. But it's like they don't have the internet in Star Wars.
Sure.
It's like, why wouldn't you have access to all that? I mean,
but I'm sure there is an equivalent now. Now that we have the internet, there is some sort of like the mega database. I just want to show you. But yeah, that's all I really have to say. I loved it. If the Guardians never come back, I'm fine. If Peter Quill, and I could see maybe Mantis coming back for Secret Wars as well, because she's the other one that went away to find herself. If everybody else, especially because you have Gamora, Drax, Nebula, the 3 people who are in the heaviest makeup for anyone, I get why they don't want to come back. Bradley Cooper, I'm sure he'll come back. He's got the easiest job. He probably hasn't even met any of these fuckers. He doesn't do red carpet stuff. I mean, he did for this one because he's kind of a bigger deal, even though he doesn't even do the voice of Young Rocket. That's like, I think it's Kraglin, who does the motion capture. Yeah. I think he does the voice for Young Rocket as well, which is weird. Just have Bradley Cooper do it and change it in post. I don't know. Whatever. But I would not be upset if they make more. Just hopefully they get the right person to do it. You can't just throw anybody onto a Guardians property and make it work. So if they do, cool. If they don't, no biggie. We got a million other fucking Marvel characters to deal with. So what's the next big Marvel thing? Oh, Secret Invasion is the next Marvel property to come out.
Yeah, that's the Disney.
That's the show. And then it's The Marvels, which, who knows? I have no idea if that's going to be a good one or not. I don't love Captain Marvel, the first one. And it's not an incel hating Brie Larson sort of thing. It's kind of a boring movie. But I'm interested in see where they're going. Anywho, next week is Elemental and The Flash.
I thought we were going to talk about The Flash. I don't think we're going to talk about Elemental.
I'll see Elemental.
I doubt I'll have time to talk about Elemental.
That's fine. And if you don't want me to like spoil it and stuff, if you want to save it, that's totally understandable. I don't give 2 shits about Elemental. I haven't really cared about Pixar.
I don't really give a shit about The Flash.
Well, yeah, so we are on opposite sides of the coin for that sort of thing. And I totally get why everybody would boycott The Flash. Fuck Ezra Miller, piece of shit. Don't give him another chance. This is his swan song. Let him go out on his high, but nobody should ever hire him again. And the fact that they're even like considering keeping him on for future Flash movies just because this one's so good is mind-blowing. So I get why people are boycotting this movie. I get it. I'm not too hot on Pixar lately. I haven't seen Encanto. I haven't seen Coco. I think there was another one I didn't see. But besides like Luca, they haven't done anything that I cared too much about. And with like Spider-Verse, Puss in Boots, things like that, how can you compete? Like your shit looks old. But yeah, we'll see next week. If you want to get in contact with us, we are at WRPL Podcast on Gmail, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. As always, I'm Ben.
I'm Steve.
And keep consuming.